started on the live today. Bear with me for 2 seconds. Cool, so thank you for joining. Yeah, I'm literally just getting set up right now and it's just started to rain, which is absolutely perfect. Yeah, today I'm going to be doing something slightly different in terms of the live stream. So yeah, I'm still just slightly setting up at the moment. Just got the tripod up and yeah, I've got some other materials as well to show. So yes, I'm outside a meat market today and I'm just getting set up. I've got a placard, and if they can address the public on the street in terms of, you know, selling their meat products, I want to yeah, basically do the same thing but to advocate against it and raise awareness for the babies that are dying. And so I've got a placard with me today and I'll be showing the public that and getting their opinions. So I'm going to move over to the site. I'll just turn the camera around so you can see exactly where I am. So this is, in front of me is the meat van, Catley Chilled Foods. And around the other side they have a guy on the microphone and they're basically trying to encourage the public to go over and buy dead body parts. So in return, I'm going to be standing outside with this placard. I know it's probably, the camera's probably flipped, but it will say on it, "Do you eat babies?" So I want to see, yeah, what the public's reactions are, and just to see, basically, yeah, how they respond, and if we can, yeah, get a change of perception. So yeah, I think this sign is quite. Let me step back a bit. Yeah, quite. Interesting sign that's going to probably catch a lot of attention and definitely catch the attention of the meat van. So yeah, we'll head over and I will take you with me. But yeah, it's annoying, it's just started raining, so I don't want to get any equipment wet. So let's head on over. I'll flip the camera around just to start with so you can see exactly, yeah, what I'm seeing. I'll try. So yeah, trying to get people to make the connection. Not trying to rage bait, not trying to, you know, get people's backs up. People to actually make the connection with the food that they're eating are baby animals. And if you're against eating baby animals, then you shouldn't be paying for things on the meat van. And that is ultimately what we're doing. So there's the meat van, and we also have a fish stall as well. So let me just get set up, find a good place to position. Let's just put it down here. Okay. There we go. So in the background there it is, it's raining and it's sunny. Love it. So. Okay. So yeah, behind me is the meat market. Why we need to be vegan? Well, because we don't need to exploit, harm and murder baby animals for the sake of a meal. And that is exactly what I'm standing here today with a placard showing, is that you don't need to eat baby animals. We don't need to force animals into gas chambers, into slaughterhouses at a fraction of their life for the sake of a meal. And that is the message that I'm going to get across today, and hopefully make some awareness to the public of exactly these issues for food, for clothing, whatever the issues might be. Man has been hunting since the dawn of time. Man's done a lot of things in the dawn of time. We did a lot of things in the past that we would not deem as sort of acceptable in today's society. So why, just because we did something in the past, should we do it today? Thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, I've literally just started the stream. So yeah, appreciate you getting on board. And yeah, so this is the signpost. that I've got basically on the tripod. It says, "Do you eat babies?" Let me flip the cool. So hopefully it's back on. If someone could please comment if the stream is working. Apologies for that. Just trying to check it on this other device. Yeah, if you could let me know if the stream's back. Hopefully it's not stuck on the loop anymore. That should be back in now. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, that's back now. So yeah, thanks for tuning back in. Yeah, cheers, John. Internet's just, yeah, changing between signal strengths here, so hopefully it's better now. So yeah, I'm standing here at a meat market in the UK, and basically going to be standing here with a sign that says, "Do you eat babies?" And the reason for that is right behind me here is a meat van that are selling dead body parts, that are selling dead animals' parts, dead babies, and we're here to raise awareness and to try and get people to make the connection that the things that they're selling on that stall is baby animals. And I don't know if you can see behind me, so there's a gentleman that's running, there's a fish stall just opposite, and they're already talking about me being here. And the fact that I'm basically protesting. So this should be interesting, and obviously I'm live streaming, so you'll see everything that happens. You know, if they do come over to me, everything's going to be on live stream. So yeah, here to raise awareness, and also in the video description, as always on my live streams, I put a link to a 3-minute movie, and you can see exactly what happens to animals in the farming industry, in slaughterhouses, for food, for clothing. And you can see whatever happens to animals in just a 3-minute movie. So yeah, highly encourage you to go onto that clip, watch it for 3 minutes, hop back on the stream, and yeah, you can see exactly what happens to animals. And obviously here to raise awareness of being vegan, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got about yeah, being vegan. If you know people that are vegan, if you've got any questions, any concerns, please do put them in the chat. Happy to respond to comments. So yeah, and then thanks for anyone else that's just joined. So just very quickly again, so we're at a meat market in the UK, and I'm standing outside with a sign that says basically, "Do you eat babies?" I know the sign's probably flipped because the camera's flipped. And we want to raise awareness and make people the connection between what they're eating, and if they're compassionate people, would they really want to kill and consume baby animals? We're so disconnected from the food that we eat, the food that we buy in supermarkets, the food that we buy in shops. And so we're here to raise that awareness and make the connection and have some conversations with people. There's a question here from Yossi. Did you ever eat meat in the past? Yeah, so I've been vegan about 4.5, 5 years, but before that, yeah, I used to eat meat all the time. And I feel like we're so brainwashed into, you know, what food is, and until someone actually sort of questions that and shows you the reality, that's when you can decide to make those compassionate choices. So yeah, for most of my life, I wasn't vegan. I used to consume animals like most other people. But when you see the reality of what happens to those animals, and you as individuals have a choice, that's when you can make the compassionate choices, and that's when you can choose to be vegan from now, and that you don't support these cruel industries. So please do put any questions in the chat. No animals are mistreated. I don't know what animals you're referring to, but the fact that we exploit animals on a mass scale for food, for clothing, for entertainment, for testing, any animal that is consumed for food or for drink are sent to slaughterhouses, they're gassed to death, they're getting a bolt gun to the head, they get sliced by their throat, they're electrocuted. So if that's not mistreatment, then I don't know what is. And yeah, please do put any questions in the chat. Yeah, exactly, John. If being stabbed isn't mistreated, then I'd like to know what being mistreated really is in your eyes. So the purpose of, yeah, there's a question here, can you tell me the purpose of veganism? The purpose is to reject the idea that we should support the industries that fund animal exploitation, whether it's for food, whether it's for clothing, whether it's for entertainment. And you can live vegan, you can live compassionately where you don't exploit and use animals for human benefit. That's just life, brother. We can't all eat vegetables. You can eat fruits, vegetables, plant-based foods, and actually that we could the fact that struggling to in the world. So we have populations that are subject to starvation, but we can feed 90 billion land animals, but struggle to feed 8 billion humans. And the idea that if everyone switched to a plant-based diet, we can rewild 75% of the arable farmland in the world. And if we did that, we could then grow enough crops to feed all humans and rewild the land. And there's a question here about what about animals eating animals? So we're here to talk about, well, I'm here to talk about what we can do as humans, as ourselves, as individuals, taking accountability. The choices that you make every single day are the industries that you support or against these industries that are basically harming animals for various items. So, we're not talking about animals in the wild, we're talking about what we do right now, because what we have created as humanity and society is, we've created factory farms, we've created the exploitation of animals, we've created systems that use animals for food, for entertainment, for clothing, for testing. So if we're the ones that create it, we're the ones that can stop it. So what is the protest about? So yeah, as I said, I'm here basically outside. Right behind me here is a big meat van, which, you can probably hear them. I don't know if the microphone's picking it up, but the fact that he's on a microphone trying to speak to the public, encouraging people to buy and consume baby animals. And I'm here in protest against it to make the connection with people that actually you don't need to eat baby animals, you should respect them and not exploit them. So I've been through town quite a few times, and this meat van has been here. And I think it is absolutely horrendous that anyone walking through town is subject to a whole wall of all these dead bodies on display and have to hear about this guy trying to sell them. And I don't think that's fair. So yeah, hi Aaron. So yeah, that's what's written on the board. There's a do you eat babies, and there's a picture of a lamb. I know the camera's flipped, so it does say that properly. So will I go and speak to them? I probably will do at some point. Obviously I'm just setting up at the moment, so yeah, I just want to make sure that just getting set up with the equipment, seeing what the response is initially, and obviously, as I said, as soon as I turned up, the person from there's a fish stall right next to it, went straight over to the meat van and made them aware that I was here. So, just want to make sure that everything's all fairly civil. I'm going to be here for quite a while, but yeah, I probably will engage in conversation with them a bit later on. Loads of great big legs of lamb. If anybody likes legs of lamb on here today, you're going to get a massive 3 kilo in weight leg of lamb. So yeah, sorry, there's quite a few chats, so if there's any questions about being vegan, about what I'm doing here today, please do put them back in the chat. Just trying to have a look. So yeah, I am vegan. I've been vegan for nearly 5 years now, and it was after watching a documentary called Earthlings. And basically I saw how we treat animals and the fact that we don't need to kill them and exploit them for food, for clothing. And yeah, that's why I'm basically staying out here today now as an activist, to get more people to realise that they can be compassionate individuals regarding the choices that they make. Hey Mel and Steve, thanks for joining. What do you think of the sign? No? You don't eat babies?
If everyone switched to plant-based,
yeah.
don't you think our farm industry would go completely tits up, and it would unbalance our economy? That's not going to happen much longer anyway, because the government does want farmers to make food or grow food or do anything with food. They want to feed us all like insects, don't they?
I think
we'll all be happy when we've got no money, and all our shit's connected, and
so yeah, the government
will be happy little slaves.
The government are one thing, but I think there's a misconception that we're against farmers. We want to support farmers. Yeah. What we're against is what they're doing to baby animals, like on their sign. Yeah. We need farmers to grow all the crops and things that we eat, but we don't need them to farm animals.
Yeah, but no. When you look at some of that farming, when they got pigs, it's industrial. Industrial farming,
yeah.
And they never see the light of day, they're born. The only time they
I could just put in the chat If the stream's back now, hopefully it's back. I don't know what's going on with the internet at the moment. Yeah, appreciate if someone could just put in the chat if the video is back. I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, the signal has been a bit intermittent, to say the least, since I've been here so far, but I can see the numbers in the room starting to increase again, so hopefully it means the signal is back and rolling. So, thanks, Matthew. So I don't know, what point did the stream cut out? Well, I was talking to that gentleman for quite a long time. I don't know how much you actually heard of that conversation, or what point it dropped out. But yeah, it was quite a long chat with that guy. Obviously, he brought up a whole host of issues in society. A lot of it was around the food, and so he basically knew a lot about what we do to animals. He knew a lot about how they're farmed, the conditions they're in. He knew a lot about McDonald's, but so his sort of fundamental beliefs were that he was against the idea of inhumane slaughter and the inhumane life. So the pigs, for example, that only see daylight when they're on their way to a slaughterhouse, essentially. He made that connection, which a lot of people don't realise. And he also made the connection, a really good point about, in the fact that when we look at how that food is created, deforestation required, the land required from all the animals being farmed, he understands the significance of that, which is great. But the issue is he's still saying that he's not ready to be from a leaflet, which explains a little bit more about what happens to animals, and also has got some really good resources and easy swaps. And I think the fact that his family, I think, were vegetarian might be able to help him on his journey. But the idea that, you know, this could have been the first time that this is his conversation with a vegan about this topic. So I'm just going to put the umbrella up. It's starting to rain again. So yeah, well, thanks all for joining. Apologies for the lack of quality on the stream earlier. So basically, I'm outside a meat market, meat van in the UK. So right behind me here is a meat van selling dead babies, dead flesh, dead animals. And what they have is a guy on a microphone, basically trying to bring people into the public, explaining the products that they're selling. And in protest, he says, "Do you eat babies?" And there's a picture of a lamb. I know the camera is flipping the image, so it's slightly reversed. So basically, we're trying to make the connection between the people that consume these foods, make them have the connection with the animals that they're eating. So also, as I've mentioned earlier, but I'll mention again, so in the video description, there is a link to a 3-minute movie. And in that 3-minute movie, you can see exactly what happens to animals and a big reason of why I and many others are vegan today. You can see exactly that reasoning in just 3 minutes. So please go to the video description and yeah, you can see exactly what happens to animals. And yeah, sort of encouraging people to have a conversation. The weather's getting a bit grim again, classic UK weather. But yeah, I had a really long chat with that guy, and I'm not sure when the video cut out, but yeah, it was quite a long conversation about animals, about the environment, about other political things. So yeah, apologies that the stream cut out at that point. Thanks everyone for joining, and there isn't a McDonald's nearby actually. Oh, sadly it cut out right at the start. Oh, that's so frustrating. That's the trouble when I can't look at the person and at the stream at the same time, so apologies for that. But hopefully I've just changed the settings and my network should stay strong now throughout. But yeah, so I can sort of talk a bit about the conversation that we had. And yeah, so he is so against the idea of, for example, pigs, the conditions that they're kept in, the fact that they only see daylight once, and that's on their way to a slaughterhouse where they're packed in so tightly together. And he's so against those industries. But the trouble is, a lot of people, I think, when you're told that and you look at that, is you're also against it. But the issue is that people then don't realise that the conditions, the inhumane things that they see, is from whether this meat van, whether it's from the supermarkets, whether it's from restaurants. That is exactly what we do to animal conditions until they're about 6 months old, and then we send them to a gas chamber or a slaughterhouse to be bolt gunned to the head and have their throat sliced. And that's the connection that people don't realise. They might see images of animals in farms and be against it, but they don't realise that that same product is exactly what people are funding with their money. So yeah, I mean, please do pop any questions in the chat. I've seen quite a few messages come through. I've just scrolled to the bottom. So yeah, any messages that you've got, any comments, or questions about being vegan, please do put them in the chat. Hopefully this rain clears up and I can just hold the placard up again. But the placard is just on display right beneath me, so anyone walking past should see the sign that says, "Do you eat babies?" And the rain is getting a lot harder now. So yeah, I mean, this is great because this means that hopefully people are going to stay inside and not go out and buy these dead baby animals, which I see as an absolute win. So actually, bring on the rain. So we are meant to eat meat. We are not meant to eat based foods. If you look at the British Dietetic Association, the American Dietetic Association, it shows that we as humans can thrive and survive through all forms of life, from infancy to adulthood to old age, on a plant-based diet. So we don't need to eat meat. Do you have any, a question here, Alex, do you have any negative health effects from going vegan? Absolutely zero. It's been the complete opposite. My health has significantly improved from being vegan. In the first 3 months especially, I noticed my energy levels were so much higher. And since then, I've lost body fat, and all my health indicators have improved. Done recent body composition tests, and everything is optimal and is so much greater. So you can be, plant-based athletes. You can be at the top of your game from a health perspective from being vegan, and sort of living proof of that. And I'm sure I can see some other vegans in the chat as well, and I imagine you've probably had similar effects after being vegan. You realise that your health has actually improved, and not maybe from what the perception is about being unhealthy on a vegan diet. So question here, what about slaughter for animal food for dogs? So firstly, I'd say that dogs don't have to eat meat. And secondly, I would say look at the research by Dr. Andrew Knight. And he has done extensive studies into plant-based nutrition for dogs and for cats. And I don't personally have a companion dog or a pet dog, but I know people that do. And they feed their dogs a plant-based diet, essentially. They feed them plant products. So for example, Omni, pet food. If there's any vegans in the chat or people have plant-based dogs, feel free to put your experiences in there. This rain is getting a lot worse. Should probably take shelter somewhere, but this is what we do. Matthew put, 100% a lot healthier and have more energy. Yeah, that seems like a common theme when people go vegan, is the health are just so much better. And Mel and Steve, our doggies are plant-based and thrive and live longer. So yeah, there's testaments here of both of those questions that are coming about vegans being unhealthy, but also the idea that dogs can thrive off eating plant-based foods.
Now I've got plenty of stock, and I've got some more stuff in the back.
Weird, people say the same about the carnivore diet. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the online forums about what actually goes on and people's real experiences of the carnivore diet. People struggling to pass stools, people's health implications. I mean, if you just look at if you were to do a study of your cholesterol levels on the carnivore diet, it would be significantly high, and you're putting yourself at health risks. Whereas being vegan and plant-based, you don't consume any of that nasty cholesterol. So I tried a vegan diet, was sluggish and tired all the time, switched to meat and felt instantly better. So I'd question, what were you eating on your vegan diet? I think a lot of people maybe see a vegan diet as just eating, chips and bread, but, like any proper diet, you can, I think the fact that if you eat a properly nutritious plant-based diet are far greater. Yes, the question, are you vegan? Yes, I'm vegan. for nearly 5 years after watching a documentary called Earthlings. If you want to watch a similar documentary, you can watch Earthlings or watch The Land of Hope and Glory, which is set in all of UK farms, or watch Dominion, which is one of the most popular films that have made a lot of people vegan. But if you don't have, and I'll answer that as well, why are you vegan? So a lot of people watch these films and go vegan, and that was the exact experience for me, is that I believe myself to be an animal lover. And for that reason, I saw what happens to animals. I realized I could not support and be a part of the industries that intentionally exploit them, use them for animals, force them into slaughterhouses. I realized that I was paying money towards that, and I had to make a change in my life to be against that. And if you don't have the time to watch a full-length documentary, in my video description, there is a 3-minute movie, so you can see exactly what happens to animals in just 3 minutes. So I'm just gonna put a coat on, because it's really disgusting out here. And I'll also try and answer this question: eating vegan is expensive. So actually there was a study that showed a study between someone who eats a meat diet and someone who eats a plant-based diet on an average weekly shop. And it showed that actually on a weekly shop in a supermarket, the plant-based person, or the plant-based supermarket shops, was on average 30% cheaper. So actually it showed that being vegan doesn't have to be expensive. This is absolutely horrendous weather. Sorry, bear with me a second. Okay, that's a little better. Put some nectar back in the bag. This weather is, it's getting a lot worse. A lot worse. But also there's a point about vegan diets being expensive. So the idea that sort of any diet you have can be cheap and it can be expensive. So for example, when you go to a supermarket, you have the choice of what sort of foods you purchase. So if you are purchasing animal products, if you're purchasing meat, for example, a steak, you can purchase a really, really expensive steak, or you can go for a really, really cheap option. And the idea that when you're buying vegan food and plant-based foods, you can buy those really expensive, maybe meat alternatives, or you can buy a more whole foods plant-based diet, which is cheaper. So there's different ways you can, budget depending on what sort of foods you want. So yeah, just scroll back to the bottom of the chat. If I've missed any of your questions, please do put them in. Please do check out the 3-minute movie in the video description. If you've got time to be on this stream, you can quickly nip off, watch a 3-minute movie, and let me know your thoughts if you've watched it. So yeah, Mel and Steve put a good comment in about free range. So I think a lot of people don't really understand what free range is and what it means. So for example, in the UK, if we're talking about free range, let's talk about free range chickens. So all free range means is basically that they have the space of an A4 piece of paper, the space of an iPad, and they can house up to 16,000 chickens in a barn that don't go outside and still be called free range. Free range is just a marketing lie to get you to feel less guilty about the choices that you make and the purchases in the supermarket. So don't buy the free range lie, don't buy the RSPCA assured lie, the organic lie. It's all just marketing techniques. Animals are often bred and farmed in exactly the same way, and regardless of their upbringing, they're still sent to a slaughterhouse as a baby. They're still sent to a slaughterhouse at 6 months old if they're a pig, 6 months old if they're a sheep, 1 to 2 years old if they're a cow, and if they're a dairy cow, maybe 3 to 4 years old. And if they're chickens, they're about 42 days old, just 6 weeks old. They're bred to, or genetically bred to grow as big as possible in 6 weeks, and then they're carted off onto crates, onto a truck, and then lowered into a gas chamber. So yeah, A4 surely get a bit more space than that. So unfortunately not, and you can look this up as well. Chicken in a barn, visualize that. You can really see that you would need so much space if they were to have a lot of space, but yeah, it's about the size of an A4 piece of paper, so an iPad screen. So you're saying it's not going to stop? So it will stop. We will achieve animal liberation one day, and the reason that we will achieve that is because more people are waking up and realizing, more people are making compassionate choices, more people are realizing what we do to animals. They're seeing footage, and industries are propped up on supply and demand. That's the only thing propping these industries up. So the more people that don't demand these products, the less animals are going to be bred into existence, the less animals are going to be farmed, the less animals that are going to be sent into slaughterhouses. So we have the power, and more activists, like a lot of people in this chat, a lot of these incredible activists are raising awareness to the streets, reaching thousands of people, and the more people that can do that, the more people that will change. Are you vegan? I saw you put a thumb up, so I was just very true.
Vegetarian chocolate. I'm a bastard for chocolate.
Have you tried other like vegan chocolates, for example? Because if chocolate is the only thing, then that's a very easy thing to. And do you know what happens to dairy cows to make the chocolate? You don't want to hear it, but I'll tell you what. Can I give you a leaflet that it just explains a little bit more about it? I know it's raining a lot, so. Say that again, sorry?
Don't go swimming.
Don't go swimming?
I just had an alert from SAS, Suppers Against Sewage.
Oh, right. Oh, about sewage, right. Sorry.
Once it rains.
So, yeah, that... Oh, sorry, there's just very... Oh, sorry, I'm going to hit you with my umbrella. So...
I can eat the vegan cheese, no problem. I got into
Oh,
that.
okay, so you've got the vegan cheese.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All that.
So, yeah, this...
I'm just off now for some sprouts and...
Yeah, so this it explains a bit about what happens, but also this link on the back, so it's got vegan swap, so you put in your favourite, chocolate, and it will give you alternatives. And now you've got these plant-based sections in the supermarkets, you can just go and buy vegan chocolate. It tastes the same, if not better. But know that dairy cows are basically being forced into slaughterhouses to make the chocolate that we buy. And knowing that we have alternatives is...
I know, I'm a prick.
It's just that connection, isn't it? Like once you realise what happens, you make...
Because I remember when I was very young, going home. I've been out the night before partying, my teenage years, and I went home. And he had this program on a Sunday morning that was like Farming Today or something.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy was saying, we've got this new development for feeding the cows. And there was cows in the field and all the small, the calves were there.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a big pile of food and he worked out how much food was there. Just say it was like 3 tons of food. And he had this thing around it so the cows could get in. And he reckoned that once they got so far they get an electric shock. Now, I wasn't paying attention. I was just looking at the thing. I've been out the night before. I'd stayed to watch the sun come up. I'm just sitting there doing that. And this was a big change in life for me. As they're doing it, they're eating it. I wasn't paying too much attention. But a little calf come walking along. And the calf hit the electric. And it flew back and screamed.
Oh my God.
And then the mother looked, and I just thought, that's not a great idea. That's cruel. I was just thinking, imagine you have to sit down and have your dinner. You're just going to pick up a chip, and all of a sudden, zap.
Yeah.
I was only a kid at the time, and that was the start.
Yeah, that's what made you...
Like, oh, no.
Yeah, so it gives you that connection, doesn't it? That realise that we don't need to treat animals the way they're being farmed. So yeah, obviously, like being vegetarian, you don't eat meat, but what people don't realise is, the dairy industry. But yeah, if you're already consuming like vegan cheese, if it's just chocolate that's left.
Soya cappuccino.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, right. So I do that. Just that.
So you're this close, and all you have to do is just say, right, I'll buy vegan chocolate now, and you can be vegan. I've been vegan for 5 years, happy, healthy, and...
I know I've got a mate, he's a boxing promoter, and you want to see this guy, he's a proper contender. He's been vegan.
Okay.
And I looked at him and he said, I said, a good pension. I said, why? I said, because it looks like you're going to live a... I mean, you're nearly 65 now,
Yeah.
and you look like, and you don't, he doesn't smoke, drink, or do any of that, and he's a boxing promoter, so he's in and out of the gym and doing
Shows
that.
you can be physically fit. Oh, yeah, exactly. You don't...
And he said, I never thought of that. I said,
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, what I should recommend, like read that leaflet, but check out the swaps, and you can be vegan. What we do to animals. So exactly, you can be, and you will be vegan this evening. Thank you very much. Okay, hopefully the stream didn't cut out that time, and you heard the conversation. So yeah, that guy basically walked past. Sorry, I wasn't in the shot. Yeah, he walked past and he just put his thumbs up like this to me, and obviously he heard what I was saying, so I thought I'd ask him if he's vegan. And yeah, if you heard that story about what he saw with the calf and the mother, I mean that's as a young age, if you are, you know, just been out on the night drinking and you stumble across that scenario, that's something that will stay with you for life. And yeah, the fact that he made that connection at a young age, that, you know, calves getting electrocuted in front of their mothers is not right. So the fact he's made that decision to be vegetarian, so he's not consuming meat products, but yeah, and also vegan cheese. But the only thing is talking about chocolate, and if it's chocolate is the only thing, then hopefully this is the conversation that will just get him over that line to being vegan. And yeah, so I've given a resource. It's a leaflet from Viva. It shows you exactly what happens to animals, shows you exactly what happens to pigs, to cows, to sheep, to chickens and to fish. And also on the back it's got links to vegan swaps, so you can see exactly like for what types of food, what types of swaps. So if you're looking for cheeses, it gives you lots of options for vegan cheeses. If you're looking for chocolates, it gives you vegan chocolates. For milk, vegan milk. So yeah, it's a really good resource that yeah, that hopefully people will read. And it has stopped raining now. Excellent. Hopefully all my microphones aren't totally ruined. So yeah, apologies for everything I've missed in the chat. Please do pop any more questions back in the chat and I can try and pick some up now until, yeah, I have another conversation with someone who stops by. So there's a van that's just parked right in front of the meat van. I wonder if that's intentional. I wouldn't be surprised if it is intentional because, yeah, there's a fish stall just over there. They've been talking with the guy at the meat van a lot, and obviously they know that I'm here stood with a sign saying, "Do you eat babies?" So I think we've got them riled up. They parked a van right in front. So I think what makes sense is if I go and move my setup and, yeah, go and stand right outside them. So let's do that, because that's the point of this stream, is to, yeah, get people to make the connection with the products they're buying, and maybe we'll get a bit closer to the meat stall. That came over the van was going overall. Yeah, right, let's just move my setup. Let's get this back in the background. Let's see how triggered they get.
We've got a nice bit of beef on here today, folks. If anybody likes some absolutely...
I think this office is closed. There we go. Right, so the meat van is back in shot now. Let's see if they move their van again. It'd be funny if they do.
Double them up for 25 while we are at the bit of sale. We've got plenty of chicken, plenty of duck.
So how much, I don't know how much of this you can actually hear. Can you hear the guy talking through the microphone?
£8 a piece.
Can you hear this?
2 for 15 today. I'll tell you what, no, we're not. We're going to go 2 for a tenner on the whole ducks. Plenty of lamb on board.
Yeah, so it's good. Kind of good that you can hear it. Essentially, like, I find it absolutely disgusting walking through this town and being met with a van that literally blocks your entire path. You cannot walk through this town without going past this van. And the fact that they're on a microphone.
I've got whole chickens today.
Sorry, I just heard him say I don't like steak. I was just curious of what he was going to say after that. But yeah, the fact that he's basically he's got a loud voice, he's on a microphone, and he's trying to get people to come over to buy his dead body parts, buying dead babies. So yeah, that's why I'm standing here with the sign that says, "Do you eat babies?" I know the sign's flipped. The sign is just propped up next to my tripod, so anyone, obviously, hence people have sort of and look past. Yeah, we'll see if this van moves.
Hi, mate, you okay?
Someone, that is the reason, then they are clearly so triggered. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please do pop them in the chat. I've just scrolled back to the bottom now. And yeah, thanks Mel and Steve for letting me know you can hear the van. Hopefully it doesn't ruin my voice. Just putting the sign more in show so that anyone walking through can see this.
Pop you that one on like so, and I'll pop you that one on there, and I'll get
Yeah, hi everyone who's just recently joined the stream.
Make sure you get plenty for your
Cool.
money.
Just, yeah, hopefully I see the numbers just slightly drop, so whenever the numbers drop I just think is the internet gone, but hopefully it's okay. So yeah, it's a really strange thing. I remember seeing it years and years ago when I was younger, going through like market towns, and you have this old-fashioned van with a guy on a microphone, roll up, roll up. The fact that still happens today, maybe it's a sign of desperation, maybe it's because this is the only technique they can do to try and be that desperate to reach the public, that they're pretty much shouting in their faces to get them to come over.
There we go.
Hey Aaron, yeah, good luck with We the Free today. Yeah, hope it goes well, hope you change lots of hearts and minds, and yeah, I mean, so there's an event in Southampton today for We the Free, and that same 3-minute video that we'll be showing the public is in this video description, so you can see exactly what happens to animals in just 3 minutes. So please do check out the description, and yeah, you can see exactly what happens.
Hiya mate, you alright? What do we fancy? Bit of steak, same as that gentleman?
It's absolutely disgusting. So they're selling dead babies. They're actively promoting dead babies, dead baby parts, dead body parts. And most people don't realise that the products being sold, the animals, the lives that are being sold are babies. So for example, if they've got lamb products, those lambs are between 4 and 6 months old. They'll be sent onto a slaughterhouse truck and they'll be bolt gunned to the head, or electrically pronged, and then they'll be having their throat sliced. And if they're pigs, again, they'll be, if it's sausages or bacon, then animals are also sent into a gas chamber at 6 months old. They're lowered into CO2 gas from the inside out, and that is then sold as ham and sausages. That was just the guy I spoke to earlier walked past. So yeah, the fact that these are baby animals, chickens as well. I think they're selling, I can see whole chickens. They're positioned about here, they've got whole chickens, and they're 42 days old, 40 days, 6 weeks old. They're genetically bred to grow as big, as quickly as possible, as big as possible, and then they're sent onto a massive truck, and then they're basically sent into a gas chamber. They're lowered down in the same crates that they're transported in, and they're sent to a gas chamber. And I mean, there's a comment here, but does it taste good? You can get the same taste from products that don't involve animal exploitation. You can have the exact same taste of it. You get vegan chicken, you can get anything else that isn't an animal and still have taste. And even if that taste was slightly less, it doesn't justify the life of an animal. It doesn't justify that. If you have a pet dog, would it justify you to force them into a gas chamber and say, oh, well, you know, your dog tastes nice, so that's the justification. If you said, oh, your family member, your friend, oh, well, they taste nice, so I'm going to force them into a gas chamber. Taste is not a justification for murdering an innocent being.
Plenty and plenty of bacon. Enough to feed an army, I think. Yeah, it's all fresh to freeze, mate. All nice and fresh for you.
I think it's the same person commenting earlier. But yeah, it said, you eat meat before? And I said, yes, I did used to eat meat. For most of my life, I ate meat. And I think part of that is the fact that we're all brainwashed into a way of life, into what's known as food. And until someone questions that this food is actually an animal, food is actually a living doesn't want to die. And for me, it was what. Cool. Sorry, hopefully I'm back in the room.
There we go. Would you like your receipt?
Don't know why it's glitching so much. It says I've got full signal, but yeah, strange.
Thank you very much.
Very
Have a nice
strange.
day, guys. Hi, sir, you okay? Legs are like big.
So yeah, hopefully it's back working. I'll just see if I can check it on here.
Got some nice boneless lamb,
Go back on.
some whole chicken. some
So
whole
yeah,
pork.
Joe says, Joe, I will not listen to any more of this nonsense. So what part of this is nonsense? What part of this is nonsense? What part of speaking up for innocent animals' lives is nonsense? Why would it be? Yeah, we're here to raise awareness and try and change people's hearts and minds, because if you were on that truck, if you were being put into a slaughterhouse, would you want someone to fight for you as well? If you at 6 months old were being told that you're just food, would you want someone to speak up and save you?
1.2 for 20. Get about 3 big pieces of that steak like that, 20.
Animals kill animals. I mean, yeah, I know you posted that a few times now. As I said, animals do kill animals in the wild, but the fact that we have moral agency, we have a choice. We as a species have done all these horrific things and build these industries for animals. So we don't have to go and support this anymore.
Yeah, no problem.
So actually, yeah, you can't really see it, but the sign says, "Do you eat babies?" And this is the topic. The topic is speaking up for the innocent people. So everyone that's going to this meat van, hopefully will then come, as soon as they turn around or walk through the other direction, they see the placard and they can try and make a connection. I can try and have a conversation with people. Just conscious that I've got a fair bit of stuff around, so I don't want to leave my bag and tripod and go over to people, but yeah, maybe I will shortly.
Yeah, I've got lamb chops in the back, mate. And into your plate.
You can do as you choose. Clearly, many of us do support eating meat. Yeah, the fact that you can choose. So yeah, we as individuals have that power to make individual choices. So if we have the power to make choices, why would you not want to make compassionate ones? If you have an option where option A is you forcing a pig into a gas chamber to be suffocated and burnt alive, versus eating a vegan sausage where it causes no animal deaths and harm, why would you not want to choose the more compassionate option? Why would you want to force an animal into a gas chamber? You don't need meat to live. That's just complete misinformation. You don't need meat to live. I'm living proof. There's plenty of people in the chat. So we've got Mel and Steve in the chat, many other vegans in the chat who thrive and survive off eating plants. You don't need meat. Living proof. Living proof. You don't need them. You don't need to force them into gas chambers. You don't need to artificially inseminate them. You don't need to steal their babies from them. You can live vegan and you don't have to exploit animals. There's another question here, what health benefits have you noticed since going vegan? So yeah, as I said, my health has increased dramatically. In the first 3 months I noticed big step changes, and that was with my energy levels. But also now, you know, I've lost a significant amount of unwanted body fat. I've got a lot leaner, built more muscle, got more, yeah, I guess my athletic and endurance levels have increased, and obviously indicators that you would see in your blood and in your arteries would have increased as well, in a positive lens. So for example, my cholesterol would have reduced, and any other sort of health impacts from a negative side, the idea of, you know, all the nasty stuff you get from meat, saturated fats, for example, is now, yeah, no longer. So yeah, from a health perspective, it's a no-brainer. You feel so much better from being vegan, but it wasn't the health aspect of why I wanted to go vegan and why I decided to be vegan in the first place.
Yeah. Got that big pork joint there for a tenner.
So the rain's drying up a bit now, so let's see if I can turn the other microphone back on.
You never have too much extra, but the wrong word.
So you lost weight, that's not necessarily healthy. So the fact that I lost unwanted body fat, so I did a body composition test, and actually all of my health indicators have dramatically improved, and I'm optimal in various of them. So yeah, losing and gaining weight doesn't necessarily dictate whether that's healthy or unhealthy, but the fact that I've dropped body fat and built the outcome. I haven't eaten meat for a number of months. I rarely have dairy. So do you know what happens in the dairy industry? I mean, I can explain what happens in the dairy industry in case you don't know. So female cows are artificially inseminated. They'll get the semen from a bull and they will insert it into a female cow. After a cycle of pregnancy, mother cow will then give birth to her young. If the baby cow is male, they're likely to be shot and killed within their first week and sent to the veal industry. And if they're female, they will basically be separated from their mothers and they will go into the same reproductive system that the mothers have to go through. So they give birth, the babies, if they're female, will then, once they're old enough, they will then also be artificially inseminated and have their babies taken away. And the reason that their babies are taken away is because the milk that those cows produce is then taken and given to human beings. So the fact that, yeah, cows only produce milk because they're mothers. Like humans produce milk for their babies, cows produce milk for their babies. And once, after about four or 5 years of repeated cycles of impregnation, the cows, from the farmer's perspective, are seen as no longer profitable, and they're known as spent in the industry. They then have more health issues, their milk production declines, and for that reason they then send them to a slaughterhouse at the age of 4 or 5 years old. And then that meat from the animal is then put into things like burgers and mince. So the dairy industry is in fact part of the meat industry. And yeah, so the van behind me is one of these vans that are selling those body parts. They are selling dead animals. They are selling dead baby lambs, selling dead baby chickens, baby cows. And then on the other side of the road, we've got a fish stall as well. So yeah, hopefully that clarifies about dairy to the question from up the villa. Yeah, I mean, if the fact that you rarely have it, as you know, from this moment on, just completely stop having it. You can have dairy replacements, which you may already have. You know, you can have different types of milks. You can have soy milk, oat milk, hazelnut milk, macadamia milk, rice milk, pea milk. There's hundreds of different milks you can have, and you don't need cow's milk. And if it's cheese, you can get vegan cheese, you can get vegan chocolate, you can get whatever it is as replacements to the dairy. Umbrella back at the ready. They are selling proteins, they are selling dead babies, they are selling baby animals corpses, they're selling flesh, they're selling animals that have been gassed to death. Don't the nut milks destroy the rainforest? So the biggest reason of deforestation is animal agriculture. So about 80 to 90% of all the soy produced for deforestation is given to animals as animal feed.
Have you had many gaffers recently? Have you slowed down on the gaffers?
But they are still proteins. Well, you can get proteins from other sources. You can get proteins from plants. Animals get protein because they eat the plants themselves. Animals are just the middlemen which you're getting your protein from, when you can go direct to the source. You can get high protein foods from plants and you don't need to kill animals.
Yeah, will be like. Yeah, they're £5 each. Or you can have 3 for a tenner. One.
Right.
Yeah.
Plant and animal protein are different bases. Please explain what you mean by that. Don't know if that's a question. Processes high in cancers. Well, what I can tell you is meat. Oh, jeez. Bear with. That's better. So, for example, if you're looking at processed meats, so your bacon, your ham, your sausages, they are class 1 carcinogens, as indicated by the World Health Organization, to definitely be a link to cancer. Like 100% directly linked to cancer. So, that's processed meats, which you don't need to eat, you can just eat plants instead. Amino acids building blocks. So every plant has every essential amino acid, and if by eating multiple plants you can get the whole range of amino acids. So yeah, the fact that they all derive from plants in the first place, so yes, you just need to eat plants and then you get all the protein and all the amino acids. If you're still amino acids and the range of amino acids, eating a one plant, you get all your essential.
Everyone's had a lion, I think.
My wife would leave me if I stopped eating meat. I think, oh, is my stream lagging? Hopefully not.
I've only got one left, mate. 2 kilos, 30 quid.
Your wife would leave you if you stopped eating meat. Well, your wife would leave you for being compassionate. If you're making compassion choices, if you're deciding that you want to be kind to animals and your wife wants to leave you for being kind to animals, then, well, that's a different conversation. So yeah, please do put any comments in the chat and any questions. Like I've been answering quite a few today on health. Yeah, please do drop them into the chat. Exactly, Matthew. A balanced whole food plant-based diet can get you everything your body needs, 100%, 100%. Go to the Muslims and tell them to stop with the halal. You know, against any form of slaughter, whether it's halal, whether it's not halal. Slaughterhouses should be closed down, and the way that animals are killed, we shouldn't distinguish and say one way of killing an animal is better than another. The fact is, an animal doesn't need to die and doesn't need to be bred into existence to be food and a commodity for humans. So there's another question that's just come in, which is a very common one, which I get, which is, what would you do to all the farm animals if everyone stopped eating animals today? So I think there's a common perception of, oh, if everyone went vegan, you'd have all these animals running wild. Well, you either get all the animals are going to be running wild, or the animals will go extinct. You know, that's the common things people say. It's one or the other. But the fact is that animals are bred into existence from the fact of supply and demand. So as more and more people adopt plant-based diets and go vegan, less animals are bred into existence because the demand isn't there, so therefore the supply reduces. So over time, animals and less will be in existence until eventually they'll remain in sanctuaries and those that want to care for the animals. Animals are here just like us. They have their own purpose to live this world just as we do. You know, animals are not for us. We live on the same planet as them. We are animals. We can live harmoniously together. We don't have to exploit them and kill them for food and for drink. So your question, what's this live about? So yeah, for anyone that's just recently joined, I'm standing outside a meat van today. Yeah, vegan debates, and trying to raise awareness of basically what we do to animals. So just below my tripod here is a placard that everyone's walking past and seeing that says, "Do you eat babies?" And yeah, I've had a couple of people come over and had a conversation. It keeps raining, so I don't want to move too far away from my tripod setup because all my equipment and bags. Maybe if it clears up a bit more, I'll engage into more public conversations. But yeah, trying to raise awareness, and obviously they're feeling a bit of pressure earlier. They tried to block the camera with the van so that it wasn't pointed at their meat van. And it kind of shows their desperation again, like the fact that they're on a microphone with a speaker trying to talk to the public, trying to get people over. They're that desperate to sell their dead baby body parts.
They are very, very strong, sir. I've warned you, okay?
What about tigers eating gazelles? You need to protest there, mate. Again, like, you're talking about animals in the wild, not animals that we are breeding specifically for exploitation, for food, for drink, for clothing, for entertainment, for animal testing. We're doing what we have in the power. But also people will then mention lions and tigers. Why don't you bring up rhinos or hippos? Herbivorous animals that just eat plants. The biggest and strongest in the animal kingdom don't eat other animals.
Bulgaria.
So yes, I'm vegan. So yeah, if you want to, learn a bit more, please always do, drop me any questions on my social medias. You can find me alex.activism. If you could subscribe to this channel, and you'll see way more live streams coming up in the future, that would be much appreciated. And also, if you double tap the screen, that really helps the algorithm boost this video, so appreciate that. Question, who is funding your activism? Myself. I'm funding my own activism. I'm standing out here with a camera and a tripod, and that's it. You don't need a fancy setup, just, camera back on now. Yeah, hopefully it's back on now. Apologies for that, thanks. Yeah, really appreciate that. Anytime the video freezes, just let me know. I don't know what's going on at the moment. It's very strange.
Thank you very much. Hi, sir, you okay? Yeah.
So yeah, any questions, please do put them in the chat. I'll try and get through a lot of them. This question here, I need some info, I'm a new vegan. What information do you need? So obviously there's lots of resources. I mean, for anything, just use Google or ChatGPT. You can type in whatever question it is. You know, if you're looking for a certain type of food, if you're looking for where to eat, you know, Google your best friend. If you're looking for where to eat, you know, Google your best friend. Yeah, it's a really good resource actually, Challenge 22. They offer free support, like a mentoring system. You can ask them questions, a lot of it from a health perspective as well. So yeah, try Challenge 22, it's completely free. And also in the video description is my link tree. There's a few documentaries you can watch as well. You can watch What Happens to Animals, watching The Land of Hope and Glory. If you're cared about the environment, there's a documentary called Cowspiracy. There's a documentary called Seaspiracy. There's a documentary called The Game Changers. From a health perspective, there's a documentary called What the Health. These are all amazing resources that you can find out a little bit more if that's what your questions are about.
Nice big piece there like that, nice big
Now the sun's out.
for a tenner, mate.
So, question, how do people kill animals in your country? So, obviously there's a variety of animals killed for a variety of reasons. If we're talking about food and drink, so if we start with sheep, lambs, so they are 4 to 6 months old. So 6 months old, they're taken into a slaughterhouse and they'll be basically electrically pronged to stun them, or often bolt gunned, and then they'll have their throat sliced. And then similarly for cows, they'll have the similar process, 1 to 2 years old if they're beef cows, 4 or 5 years old if they're dairy cows. They will be bolt gunned to the head, they'll be hung up by their legs and have their throat sliced. And then if we talk about chickens, for example, chickens are about 42 days old, so 6 weeks. They are carted off into big crates into a gas chamber and lowered down until they suffocate from the inside and die. And the same thing with pigs, 6 months old, they get lowered into CO2 gas chambers, so the gas basically will burn them from their insides, their lungs, their eyes, until they essentially suffocate from death. Suffocate to death, rather. And so yeah, obviously they're one of the top ways that animals, the most practiced ways that animals are killed in this country. But the clothing industry, fur, wool. If we look at animal testing, you know, millions of animals are being tested on in this country, and a lot of them are then killed because they're infected with diseases. So, you know, always try and buy cruelty-free products, and don't support companies that aren't cruelty-free. Question here, should be quick and human. I think that's probably meaning to say humane. And yeah, this is, you know, this is the norm in the UK. Animals sent into slaughterhouses as babies, and then sent into a gas chamber, or shot in the head and have their throat sliced. Question here, at least we don't eat cats. At least we don't eat cats and dogs, but you know, in a lot of countries, you know, China or Korea, they do eat cats and dogs. And how do you feel about that? You know, I think in this country, as a nation of supposed dog lovers, that, yeah, how would you feel if it was dogs being sent into a slaughterhouse? If it was your pet dog? So we aren't in Asia, it's pissing me off. If you're getting pissed off, what is it you're getting pissed off about? If it was dogs, it would be weird, but what difference between a dog and a pig? What difference is there? They're both individuals that want to live. Both don't deserve to be exploited and sent into a gas chamber. So if it's not okay for a dog, but why is it then okay for a pig? Right, I've just skipped to the bottom of the chat. Yeah, if I've missed any questions, just feel free to repost them. So there's a comment here: pigs aren't our pets. Some people have pigs as pets. Some people do. Just because someone has a pig and a pet and a dog and a pet, both animals have the right to live. Both animals have the right to not be forced into a gas chamber. And if you want to go down the intelligence route, pigs are more intelligent than dogs. Yet at 6 months old, they are sent into a gas chamber.
Hi guys, you okay? Yeah, they're £3 or 2 for a fiver, bud. Two of them ones, all them ones. These ones?
So yeah, please do just repost any of the comments. I've just skipped to the bottom. Yeah, feel free to repost them.
Anything else for you today, guys?
And thankfully the rain stopped.
No problem.
Hey vegan multitaskers. So yeah, I'm outside a meat van today. You can probably hear the guy on the microphone desperately trying to get people to buy dead animals and dead body parts. And yeah, basically I'm here with a placard that's just below the tripod here. It says, "Do you eat babies?" I've had a couple of people come over for conversations. I also had a conversation with a guy before I started the live stream as well. But yeah, so basically trying to make that connection, raise the awareness of people that what they're buying are baby animals, innocent baby animals that are forced into slaughterhouses, into gas chambers, to be shot in the head for the sake of an unnecessary meal.
What did you do? Walk down the street and then go to pork chop?
Yeah, Mark, I mean, if you've been on this stream for a while, Mark, I've replied to that question multiple times already, but I will answer it again. Yes, I used to eat meat for most of my life. I was eating animals until about 5 years ago. I watched a documentary called Earthlings, and I made that connection between the horror that we do and exploit animals doesn't justify supporting those industries and making those choices. So after seeing what happens to animals, I made a decision to not support those industries anymore, whether it's for food, whether it's for clothing, whether it's for entertainment. Animals have a right to live, and that's what we're fighting for. And yeah, I recognize that for a lot of my life, I used to eat meat, but knowing that I can change, you can change, everyone here can change. They have the ability to change. And that's why more and more people now are turning vegan, because more and more people are being exposed to the content, more and more people are realizing what happens to animals. And if you have questions about being vegan, please do put in the chat. I've had a lot of good questions earlier. So yeah, any more, I'm happy to do it. Question or comment: he watched a documentary and lost the ability to use his brain. What I did was make compassionate choices. I unlocked the part of my brain that decided to be fully in alignment with my morals. I decided to make sure that my compassion extended to all of the choices that I'm making towards animals.
There we go, and more guys, I don't care.
Question here: I like eat meat, it's tasty. Again, you don't have to eat meat to get the same taste, to have the same taste sensation. Taste is not a justification to force an animal into a gas chamber. You can eat vegan, whatever foods and have the same taste. Again, I think you posted that question. I'm a new vegan, give me info, please. Please, what information are you looking for? Is it resources? Is it recipes? What questions do you have?
There we go. Thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely day and see you soon.
So,
okay?
if you're looking for recipes, try Challenge 22. It's a completely free resource, Challenge 22. But if not, just use Google. If you're looking for ChatGPT or AI, whatever it might be, if you just type in, what meals you like, whether it's like a lasagna or spaghetti bolognese, whatever.
We've got some rump steaks there like that. Thank you very much. Have a good one, mate.
Okay, so is it working again? If you could just post if it's still working. I'll check it on this device.
Let me show you. Let me show you.
Hopefully it's working. Yep, cool. Hopefully it's working. Yep, cool. Back in. So, yeah, the question earlier was about, do you drink not cow an animal. I drink soy milk, I drink oat milk. You don't need to exploit animals in the dairy industry, for example, because there's so many alternatives. We don't need to do it. So yeah, what other questions did you have? I'm just trying to scroll back up to see what other ones they were. Hopefully that answered your question about milk. I see from Dr. Fist, so Steve, what if we kill animals without pain? Whether it's painful or not, you're taking the life of an animal unnecessarily. You know, if someone said to you, oh, it's okay if I kill you, you won't feel a thing, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to be killed unnecessarily. So regardless of how they're killed, whether it's, you know, the most drawn out, longest painful process or something that's instant, it's not ethical, it's not moral, and these animals don't want to die.
Especially rump English steak.
I think a lot of people would say that actually if you were the one to be killing the animal yourself, you probably couldn't do it. If you were, you know, a baby animal, a lamb in front of you, and you were given a knife, would you be able to kill that animal yourself? But we're so disconnected from that. We pay people to kill animals on our behalf, and a lot of it without realizing. Every time you choose an animal product and purchase an animal product from a supermarket or a restaurant, you're paying that person to kill the animal for you. You're so disconnected from the physical killing of that animal because you don't see it, you don't do it. And I think a lot of people, if they're in the position that they had to kill the animals themselves, they'd be vegan. Hey Poppy, thanks for joining. Comment, I slaughter my own livestock. So firstly, livestock, the fact that that phrase even exists, like live and stock, just seen as commodities, just seen as just, you know, things on a shelf. Livestock, they're animals, they're living beings, they're living sentient beings that don't need to be slaughtered. And out of curiosity, how do you slaughter your livestock? To use your own words. So yeah, as the weather's got a bit nicer, maybe I'll start to just move over more centrally now. I can get out of this shelter and have some more conversations with people. Who gasses their cows? Mine ain't slaughtered like that. So cows in the UK typically are bolt gunned to the head and have their throat sliced, but pigs and chickens are sent into gas chambers. And also, your comment that like that, you weirdo. I mean, just because one animal was gassed and another animal was sliced in the head, they're really not that different. The animal's life is being taken from them unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's why when I'm off next week, I don't want anyone to come in. I don't want anyone to come in. Give it a rest. Because I know what they'll do, but I'm not causing problems.
So yeah, as I said before, please do check out the link in my description. It's completely free to watch a 3-minute movie. You can see exactly what happens to animals in farming, in clothing, and entertainment in just 3 minutes. You can see exactly what happens in these horrendous industries, and the reason why a lot of people in this chat even, and a lot of people that I know have been vegan from watching something similar to this. So you can do the same in just 3 minutes. So, comment here, being vegan is okay as long as you don't force it onto others, and by force I do not mean spreading awareness, I mean going to fast food places and blasting dying animal noises. So the problem is that we need to raise awareness of what happens to animals, and if there was one single best way of doing that, then we'd all be doing it. But we need everyone to take whatever approach that they can do to be active and to speak up for the animals, to get the attention, because ultimately the animals would want us to fight as hard and as quickly as possible to liberate them, to stop the cruelty that's happening towards them. So, you know, every activist has their own methods of speaking up for animals, and as you know, as long as they're doing the best they can, then everything is, you know, acceptable. Everything is good for the animals, because hopefully someone, you never know which people are receptive to different techniques. Some people who may have been in a restaurant and, you know, someone's blasting animal noises, it may have really affected them. and that they could go vegan from that. Whereas some people might not. Some people might be more susceptible to watching footage. Some people might be more susceptible for reading a book. So we've got to try every technique we can in order to free these animals.
There we go. Put some of this beautiful.
Hey Chris, thanks for joining.
There we go. Nice repeatable. So
Just check the quality of the stream again.
we're doing 2 kilos of that today for £30. You get
Cool,
3
still
or 4
going.
massive pieces like that. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, very good comment, Poppy. Yeah, in fact, many of you are trolling, joking about killing beautiful beings says, oh, I think so many people in these chats just, almost find it funny that animals are gassed to death, just baby animals, innocent beings, having their life taken from them for the sake of a 5-10 minute meal. And again, there's a comment about what about animals eating other animals. So, as I've mentioned previously, we're here to talk about animals that are systemically oppressed, bred into society, and then killed for food, for clothing. That all humans have created this. We can stop it. And animals in the wild, that's completely different. We should just leave animals alone. If you think about that, it basically would sum up everything. Just leave animals alone. And it's something that I always kind of think about is there's no right way to use an animal. We don't need to commodify them. We don't need to objectify them. So it's coming from Billy. I respect and understand what you're doing, but then I think you've also then put you won't change anything. So we're doing as much as we can. A lot of activists in the chat are doing as much as they can, and we are changing things. More and more people are going vegan. More people are tuning into these live streams and realizing what happens to animals. Many of us have stood outside slaughterhouses and taken people to the gates of a slaughterhouse so they can see the victims of their choices.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, guys.
And John R, I already watched Dominion. So how did you feel watching Dominion? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, it's gone now, mate. I still load it, you see. If I go back with it, I still need it. Yeah.
So, question from Juan. Vegan is good for you, but it's a slow process to go full vegan, but I don't like vegan telling me I'm monster. Have you a meat before? So, vegan, you can be vegan straight away if you wanted to. A lot of people, it has been more of a gradual process. Some people might have gone vegetarian first, but the fact is that veganism is not just a diet, it's a mindset and an ethical stance. So you can be vegan right now with no excuses and say, from now on, I'm going to be vegan. There's no long process about it. You can be very vegan as quickly as that. And the reason is because once you decide, all right, I'm going to be vegan now, any choices that follow are going to be vegan choices, are going to be compassionate choices. The choices that follow are, next time you go into a supermarket, what products are you going to buy? Next time you go into a shop, what products are you going to buy? Next time you're at a restaurant or a cafe, what option on the menu are you going to buy? It's as easy as that. It's making those choices, and the fact that it is that simple for us, then we should be kind and compassionate to animals.
Been rabbiting for a while, right? Yeah. Oh, leaving here, aren't you?
So just skip to the bottom of the chat. Yeah, if there's any questions that I've missed and I haven't read out, please feel free to repost them. Happy to answer any questions you've got. Obviously, a lot of the trolling comments I will ignore, but if they're genuine questions, I'm happy to help.
But it's been so slow.
Comment here, you think if we just let cows, pigs and chickens roam free, then things will be so great. And the fact that all these animals are bred millions into the billions into existence to be killed at the young age of a baby. They are baby animals. They're 6 months old, 6 weeks old sometimes, depending on which animals we're talking about. And the fact that these animals don't need to be bred into existence to then be killed for food or for clothing or for entertainment, whatever it might be, we don't need to exploit them. at a young age or at any age. And the fact that if we stop breeding them into society, then less and less animals are going to be exploited for those industries. And one day we'll all just live into sanctuary and they can live out their lives happily. Comment here from Bo, yeah, veganism is the least we can do, absolutely. Comment here, watch this man dedicate his life preaching about something nobody cares about. So the fact that we can be kind to animals, I feel like a lot of people respect animals and a lot of people love animals. So there we go. I think you're missing quite a lot of people. Question here, do you eat fish? Absolutely not. There's actually a fish stall here, which they also didn't like me standing here. We did a protest here a year ago with a similar thing. No, we don't eat fish. Fish are animals. Fish are animals that live in the sea, and they don't need to be killed and exploited either. And you know, they're the way that they're killed, obviously, depending on the type of fish, they're either bred in fish farms, where they're riddled with disease and then they're killed, or they're killed wild caught, which is basically massive nets that go along the surface, and they basically would bottom trawl. They're destroying the ocean. They're also taking a lot of bycatch into these nets. So, you know, fish, a lot of them will end up just being suffocated when they're taken onto the deck of a boat, or they'll be basically like blunt force trauma. They are just beaten until they are knocked out, essentially. Some are also just put on ice. So they're actually still alive, they're put on ice and they'll slowly suffocate and then basically freeze to death. Animals are sentient individuals. Just fish are sentient individuals, just like the other animals, just like the land animals. And we don't need to exploit any of those.
Plenty and plenty and plenty of pork left if anybody wants some pork chops, some pork belly slices, folks. We have got lots and lots and
it's getting hot now.
Board.
I'm just going to take my coat back off.
Thanks
Thanks everyone for being in the chat, by the way. Appreciate all the vegans in the chat just responding to the comments. I know I can't get around to all of them. So yeah, really appreciate all of your support in the chat.
Morning, sir, you okay? I've only got unsmoked left, I'm afraid, sir. Got one pack left. Yeah. Rump steaks today. They are beautiful.
So yeah, any questions, please do pop them back into the chat. I'm happy to respond to them.
Another one there as well. 20 quid a lot, all right?
So yeah, if anyone that's recently joined, I'm stood outside a meat van in town. So this disgusting van is parked right across the street. So this is a high street going basically through in front of and behind that van. So anyone that's going into town today is unfortunately met by the horrible sound of a guy on a microphone trying to sell dead body parts. And it's absolutely disgusting. People shouldn't be subject to this. And it's just disgusting, the fact that yeah, people are that desperate they have to shout on a microphone to get people to go over. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people are seeing the sign, but yeah, perhaps it's got nice and quiet now, which is good. We don't want anyone going over there. But yeah, it's just disgusting. The fact that these places still exist is horrendous. I thought I saw the last of these vans years and years ago, but they still exist. And yeah, we have to make a presence outside of all these facilities, whether it's market stalls, supermarkets, butchers, anything. We have to try and change the public's perception and get them to realise and make the connection between who they're eating, not what they're eating. How old were you when you turned vegan? So I'm just going to say mid-20s. Mid-20s I turned vegan. And yeah, it was after watching a documentary called Earthlings, which yeah, just shows you exactly what happens to animals and how they're exploited for food, for clothing and for entertainment. So yeah, thanks for joining. Whoever that was just said they're leaving.
I cut them off the pack, obviously. So that packs are 20, or the big ones are 30. 21, yeah.
Yeah, again, so you've eaten meat before, yes, you know, openly admitting. I think most people I know who are vegan weren't vegan from birth. Would have been nice if we all were, but that's not the case. Everyone has their own story of how they basically went vegan. And yeah, so the documentary called Earthlings, but a good documentary to watch is called Dominion. You can watch Dominion, it's completely free to watch on YouTube. Or you can watch The Land of Hope and Glory, which is specifically for UK farms. And if you don't have time to watch a full-length documentary, in the video description, there's a link to a 3-minute movie. And you can see exactly what happens in these documentaries in just the space of 3 minutes. I tried the vegan diet and it was the worst thing. So firstly, veganism isn't a diet, it's an ethical stance where we would not consume and objectify and commodify animals. And what was the worst thing? You know, what did you eat? What were you doing? What was so bad about being kind to animals and then betraying them and turning your back on them because you said it didn't work? Question here, what do I think about horse racing? I think it's absolutely disgusting. So horses are obviously bred into the horse racing industry. Horses are forced to train from such a young age where, you know, if you imagine you at a young age as a toddler being forced to sprint and sprint and sprint and sprint for days on end, you get a lot of health complications for that. But also horses end up at slaughterhouses. Horses end up dying on race courses. So here's a fact for you. A horse dies every other day on a racetrack in the UK. Let that sink in. Every other day there's a horse dies. So I think there was a study in 2024, 2023, 214 horses died on racetracks in the UK. These same people that claim to love their horses like anything else would then put them into an event where they could die on a race course and then they send them to a slaughterhouse. You wouldn't do that to a family member.
Anything else for you, bud?
They run them to death. They do. They're literally running them to death. They'll fall off, they'll break their necks, they'll break their legs, they take injuries which they cannot recover from, and they'll end up shooting them or taking them to a slaughterhouse. Horse racing is absolutely disgusting. Same as greyhound racing, same as any other entertainment of animals and what they do in all these industries. Yeah, thanks Chris for putting that link. That's a really useful link. Horse Death Watch. You can see exactly what tracks, what horses died and how they died or why they died. You can see how many horses fall, how many horses get injured. And yeah, you can look at, you know, racetracks near you. And so, you know, some of the biggest events, the Grand National in Cheltenham. So, you know, they're big killers of horses because of the huge fences that they're forced to jump.
The rump steaks, let me show you what I've got, mate. Ooh. Have you had an offers before, have you? Right.
So I've just skipped to the bottom of the chat. Feel free to repost any of those questions.
Top of the food, that's fine. They're 3 packs for a tenner, bud.
Question here, our whole body is designed to eat and digest meat, blah, blah, blah. Our bodies are, obviously we can consume meat, but we can thrive off eating plants. We are designed to eat what is, you know, historically, whatever we could have gathered back in the past. But now we have the information that we have today, we have the food that we have today, and we have the resources that we have today, where we can thrive on just eating plants. And the fact that now we know that meat and animal products have serious health conditions and health implications that would be negative for our bodies. So instead, you could get the healthiest options, and that's just to eat plants.
Right up you are, mate. Massive rump steak. Do you want the 2 kilos for 30 quid? Yeah. You can have the 2 kilos for 30, mate. If you got room, you can double for 50. Yeah. No problem, boy. Yeah. More and more rump steak. Nearly out for it now. there, so I'm going to do another one as well.
But yeah, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel, and you can see more live streams coming up, often outside slaughterhouses. I'll be outside quite a few coming up in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, please do subscribe, and you can tune in outside a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, keep the little one. Yeah, there we go. No problem, sir.
Comment here, see if people want to be vegan, do it in your own time. You don't need to spread the word. I'm not really following that question, but obviously we do need to spread the word. We need as many people out there as much as possible spreading the word and raising awareness of animals and what happens to them on the various industries that we exploit them in.
Thank you. Would you
Yeah.
like a receipt?
Keep posting that, the blah, blah, blah. Yes, I blah, blah, blah your comment because I knew where it was going. You're saying we need meat, our bodies are designed for meat, when it's just ridiculous. It's not necessarily true, because we can eat and survive and thrive off eating plants.
2 kilo steak, like that gentleman should have. Like that gentleman. He just had the 2 kilos for £30.
And yeah, for anyone that's just recently joined, this is the placard that's just out there in front of me, and it's this.
There you go.
Obviously the camera's flipped. I don't know if it's flipped for you as well, but it says, do you eat babies?
There's another one. Keeps giving me more and more and more. There's another one. There we go. Not quite there, so you know what that means.
Just check facts, less than 1% of racehorses I think you mean die or injured at racetracks. As I said, every other day on average a racehorse dies. Doesn't matter about percentages or ratios. The fact is an animal dies every other day on a racetrack in the UK. 214 horses last year, that's 214 too many. Because those are individual lives, they're not just a number, they are individuals that don't want to die.
2 o'clock.
But Viola's babies, no, I don't eat babies. Well, do you eat chickens? Do you eat pigs? Because they're babies. You know, chickens are 42 days old, 6 weeks old. If we're talking about pigs, they're 6 months old. Lambs, sheep, 6 months old.
There we go.
So yeah, they're babies. They're not just the babies that you would think of, like you mentioned veal. These are baby animals across the spectrum of animals that are killed and slaughtered for food. Do you eat babies? No? Do you eat meat? Do you eat animals? No? You vegan?
Wait, babies?
Yeah, do you eat babies?
I ain't vegan, mate, no.
So you do eat babies?
What babies? What type of babies?
Do you eat cows, pigs, chickens?
You can't believe you've got that many people in front of you.
So you do eat babies?
Yeah.
How do you feel about eating babies? Have you ever thought of that though?
No, I ain't need to.
Because babies, so like what
When you was
animals?
younger, have you been a vegan all your life?
No, I haven't. No, I used to eat meat all my life until about 5 years ago. Because we're brainwashed into what we're eating, and the fact that animals don't need to die and be sent to slaughterhouses at the age of, chickens are 42 days old, they're 6 weeks old. Pigs are 6 months old, and they're forced into gas chambers.
They taste nice, don't they?
You can get taste from other things. You don't need to force an animal into a gas
No, but I
chamber.
think the fake chicken's not the same.
Not the same
Fake
as,
chicken nuggets, not the same, mate. But anyway, I'm gonna stay, mate. Go back.
yeah. Just remember, you don't need to force animals into gas chambers.
For me as well, mate. Thank you.
You do when you pay your money towards them.
All good, mate. You?
There we go.
Yeah, got some nice rump steak on today. Let me show you 1 second.
So yeah, people don't realise that they're eating babies, and when they do, they get their backs up. They want to have a chat, and then they realise, oh no, he's got a point, and they don't want to engage in an in-depth conversation. Because people don't realise that they eat babies. They don't realise that the chickens, the pigs are, you know, that young. And if they wanted to fully debate me about it, they would stay, but they didn't have an excuse, and they walk off. So question here, why do vegans like the taste of meat? So people don't go vegan because of taste reasons, you know. people or vegan alternatives that taste like meat is familiarity. It's having the same, tasting food that you used to eat. You don't have to give up. You don't have to eliminate anything from your, taste pleasure from being vegan. You can have the same tasting foods. You can have vegan chicken, vegan pork, vegan steak, vegan sausages, and have the same taste, but without supporting the cruelty to animals.
Thank you. Have a lovely day, mate. No problem. You okay? Lamb, yes. I got legs for lamb.
So yeah, please do pop any comments into the chat.
Big legs are £25. Or we got small.
You honestly refer to them as pig
lamb,
legs.
like this.
It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely
Four
disgusting.
pieces like that. Yeah, £20 they are. One of them. There you go.
It's fun. I did clock eyes with the guy selling the stuff in the van, and I was chatting to those people,
No problem at all.
just staring me out. Yeah, it's interesting. You can actually hear it. Because these microphones should pick up my sound and not much in the background, but the fact that you can hear it kind of shows, how loud it is for anyone walking past. Anyone walking past can hear this.
Pop your card out. Would you like
And it's hard. It's fairly hard. Well, I say it's hard in the UK, but to protest things like this because, if you're being too obstructive and potentially abusive, raising distress to consumers, you could be known as affecting the business. So I could very much go and just do a protest and shout at people right outside, but I want to be here as long as possible and reach as many people as possible. So engage in conversations like I have done for people who are curious and stopping by, as much as I want to just kick the shutters off that place. We have to think about what's best for the animals and reaching as many people as possible. Yeah, please do double tap the screen, like this video. It massively helps the algorithm and push this video to more people. So appreciate that if you can. Hey, was God wrong for making meat edible? God, if you're talking about meat, God, created animals, and would God want you to be compassionate to animals, or would he want you to kill them? Alex, still no mention of Muslim slaughterhouses. Is there a question? Because I've mentioned it earlier in the fact that I'm against all slaughterhouses, whether they're halal, Muslim or slaughterhouses, whatever they are. I'm against all forms of slaughterhouses, all forms of it. So what relevance has that got? But if there's a question, I'm happy to answer it. Violence against meat vendors. There is no violence here, hence I'm standing peacefully to the side. I said I could. People could, and people would want to. I'm sure many people would not want these places to exist. So based in the UK, south in the UK, in a UK high street. And yeah, Matthew, very good comment. Religion has nothing to do with animal rights. You can be vegan in your religions. You can be a vegan and be Christian. You can be a Muslim, you can be vegan. Whatever it might be, you can be vegan because animals don't need to be exploited for the sake of, whatever a God is telling you to do. You should make compassionate choices. It's a funny comment here, pushing violence for others to do it. We're talking about who's really pushing violence. We're talking about the animal agriculture industry. They're pushing violence onto billions of animals every single day in the UK and around the world. They are the most violent people. No, not in Edinburgh, down in the south of the UK. There's a comment, and they're dirty doing it that way. I don't know what part of that comment that's referring to. I might have missed it. Right, I'm just Yeah, just hitting back to right at the bottom of the comments. So yeah, sorry if I've missed any questions. Please feel free to repost them, put them back into the chat. And yeah, happy to answer it. And I'm not going to answer Galatasaray or Fenerbahce, so you can stop posting that. If someone wants to not eat meat, then good luck to you. Why waste your time telling me about it? Well, because we're reaching loads and loads of people on these things. We're reaching people on the street, we're reaching people on live streams, reaching the people that actually have a heart, people that have compassion. And those are the people that we want to try and raise awareness to and explain what happens to animals so they can make the connection and that they can stop exploiting animals. So yes, Sir Jackie, what I'd recommend you doing, if you just watch the 3-minute video in my video description, then come back onto the chat and tell me how you feel, if that sentence is still the same. Because if you can tune into the stream, you can go and watch a 3-minute movie and tune back in. Yeah, exactly. Comment from Vegan for them. If the truck was selling dogs' bodies, the trolls would not be trolling, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, imagine if it was baby puppies being put onto display here and getting people to advocate for the selling of puppies. How would you feel then? Question here, you look like a vegan. Well, you're absolutely spot on because I am one. Question from Malo. You keep posting this, so I'm just going to answer it now. 1, do you have income from doing this? No. 2, what mics am I using? I mean, if you want to ask about the specific models, feel free to drop a DM into my Instagram channel, alex.activism, and I'll happily help you on.
Absolutely massive they are. Plenty and plenty. There we go. Anything else for you today?
Comment from Juan here. I still eat meat, but not a lot. So, I mean, the way that, for instance, is that sentence is phrased, you put, but not a lot. Like, why are you saying not a lot? Is it because you don't want to admit to eating a lot, or because you genuinely don't eat a lot? And if you don't eat it a lot, why don't you just stop eating animals completely?
I've got some steak. Let me show you the steak. Let me show you so you can see for yourself.
There are differences between animals. Puppies have a certain value that chickens don't. YouTube live stream.
How many followers you got? Subscribed?
About 400. It's not many, but.
What would you like? What's the motive?
So I don't know if you can see that placard.
Is it this?
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Bro, honestly, why? You want me to be on
Oh, yeah, if you want to be, it's whatever you're comfortable with.
So basically, I want to try and be like vegetarian, vegan, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But because I'm South Asian, I struggle to put on like muscle. So I feel like for me the best way to do it is using meat.
Okay.
But when I get big enough one day, I want to just maintain it with a vegetarian diet.
Right. Okay. So thank you for being open with that. So, firstly, I'd say, why do you know the difference between vegan and vegetarian? It's fine if you don't.
Yeah, I think vegetarians are like they don't consume meat, but they still consume dairy and stuff. So like if we're talking about like chickens, not chicken but cows, you know, you use them for their milk, and then when they get slaughtered, like, but then they use that meat then, don't they?
Yeah, so dairy cows, for example, they're sent to a slaughterhouse about the age of 4 or 5, and they're basically chopped up for burgers, for cheap meats, for mince, after being...
Even like eggs as well. Eggs, like, vegetarians consume eggs. I know that you got battery cages and shit, which is unethical.
But also, yeah, so when the mother hens they lay the eggs, if the eggs hatch and they're male, on their first day of life, they are sent into a macerator. They're put into basically a big blender, a conveyor belt of male chicks into a big blender, because male chicks don't lay eggs, so they're useless for the industry. So yeah, if you're supporting the egg industry, you're paying for chickens to die. If you're supporting the dairy industry, you're paying for cows to die.
What would you say is a good alternative for eggs?
As in like a food alternative, like, or
food, protein, that sort of stuff.
So you can get, I mean, nowadays in supermarkets, you can get literally egg equivalents called like cracked or just egg, which are like vegan alternatives. But I think personally, I never used to eat eggs, but what I would recommend and what people use is tofu. I don't know if you've used or eaten tofu before.
Oh, fuzzies, bro. It's not like, it doesn't warrant.
It's the way of
egg.
cooking it. So you can make a really good scrambled tofu, mash it up, put some spices in, and it gets the same texture of like a scrambled egg, full of protein, full of really good
When you say
nutrition.
full of protein, what's the nutritional value?
I mean, you could look up like per tofu block. Sometimes you have extra firm, different types of tofu. But yeah, I mean, so if for example, I consume between 100 and 200 grams of protein a day on a plant-based diet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Which a lot of people don't realise, in that plants contain protein. All protein comes from plants. You eat animals because animals have eaten the plants. If you think in the animal kingdom, the biggest and strongest animals, rhinos, hippos, they all are herbivorous, so they eat plants. They've got all their muscle from eating plants.
It's true, you know.
But people don't realise that. Again, it's this whole marketing of you need to eat
Would that
meat
not
to be a
be their
man and be
biology,
strong.
though? Their biology, they can pick up.
But so can we. So can we. That's the thing. So if you look up vegan bodybuilders, like you'll see that they have grown their muscle. So there's a guy called Nimai Delgado. He's a bodybuilder, and he's been at least vegetarian or vegan since like birth. So he has never consumed animal products, at least no meat. So, and he's built all his muscle from doing that. And there's,
Let me make a note of that.
and there's, I mean, if you look up, there's It's Mel and Steve. There's a guy called Steve. He's a bodybuilder, and he's happy, you know, living vegan, building lots of muscle. And if you also look up, if you want to check him out, I can. This guy called Nimai Delgado. But also, I'll give you another recommendation in a minute.
This guy here.
Yeah, that's him. And then
good physique there, man.
And then the other guy is called Patrick Baboonian, who's more of like a strong lifting champion. Yeah, he has broken many world records. I think it's the German strong lifting champion, and he puts a lot of content up, and yeah, just eat from eating plants. But it's a misconception that you need to eat meat to get protein, because it's not true.
You know, I think the thing is, on a singular level, we don't feel like making much of a difference. But if like there's a collective movement,
Yep.
where everyone just like one day said, I'm not going to eat meat, it's so much easier. I think it's that motivation on your own, like, you know, I'm making all these changes in my own personal life and I'm not seeing the bigger difference for it. It's like litter picking. No one's going to pick up like litter on the floor, right, in Boston here, because they're not making a difference. But if like everyone in the whole world came together and just did litter picking for one day and we cleaned up the whole earth, everyone get involved.
I agree, and like community is a big part of it. And I think for the difference that I would say is between like litter picking, let's say, is when we're talking about animals, they are living beings that are. So you just going vegan for a year is saving 200 to 300 animals' lives. And if you were to visualize like 200 pigs, 200 chickens in front of you, and you have the decision to say, right, you can live, or you can say, I'm going to force you into a gas chamber. That's the power of just one individual. But as a collective movement, yeah, obviously more and more animals are being saved, the more awareness is being there, and you know.
It'd be nice, you know. I've got a conscience, and I think I'm a pathetic kind of guy.
But that's good. That's good that you're open, and the fact that you can be vegan and you can be compassionate and live with your morals, because what we do to animals is absolutely horrendous. So
I think I need to see with my own eyes.
So I've got some really good documentaries to watch. If you want to. You make a note of them, because that's what turned me vegan, was watching a documentary. And so there I thought, yeah, I'd advocate for exactly the same. Do you want me to type them in? Because they're probably the top three. The Land, they're all completely free to watch as well. Land of Hope and Glory. Dominion. Earthlings. So the first one, called The Land of Hope and Glory, that's specific for the UK, because a lot of people are like, oh, that happens in another country. That's specific for the UK. Dominion and Earthlings is more what happens globally. Earthlings is what made me go vegan. It was from, after watching what happens to animals, it changed my life. And yeah, I've also got a leaflet. I know it's not as maybe graphic or whatever as a documentary, but I think they're here every Saturday. So
You here every Saturday?
no, but I should be. So yeah, just
You travelled or just local?
I live local. Yeah, live in Bournemouth, so not far. But yeah, this just shows you exactly what happens to animals. But also on the back, there's some really good resources, like vegan swaps. So you know, what do I eat if I don't want to eat eggs? What do I eat if I don't want to eat cheese? And like nowadays, we've got Google and ChatGPT. We could
Is that for mine? Is this for me to keep?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've got loads just to give away. And if you want my social media,
I don't use social media.
okay. Because if you like, I want to like help people. So if you've got
No,
questions,
but
yeah,
just don't use social media.
that's cool. That's cool.
But what was I gonna say to you, bro?
But yeah, like you can.
Yeah, like you know, clothing, leather, for
Yes.
example. What we do with that? As in,
So like a
in
lot.
terms of you trying to get a nice belt, for example,
Yeah.
a good quality one, people would opt for a leather belt, right?
I think generally people might go for a leather belt,
would you
but
go for?
so for example, like I've got one at the moment that's a really good premium quality one that's made from cork. And it's really clever. But now there's so many like synthetic materials that mimic the texture of leather that we don't need to, you know, wear leather for. Like even these shoes, like they look like leather shoes, and they're just, you can see the little vegan sign on. They're
Beautiful.
like, so you wouldn't even notice the difference. So the same with shoes and the same with belts, like products that are exactly the same that actually are vegan without realizing it.
Now, if we're being completely real,
Yep, please do.
how much have you been spending more since becoming a vegan?
Less.
Less.
Yeah, that's what a few people in the chat have been saying, that vegan's expensive. And again, I always like to say, as a non-vegan, as a meat eater, when you go to the supermarket and you want to buy a steak, for example, you can buy a super expensive steak, or you can buy a really cheap cut. Same things with like vegan food. You can buy expensive vegan alternatives, or you can buy more like a whole food plant-based diet, which is on average 30% cheaper on your weekly shop. So yeah, I've definitely spent less money on food. But yeah, being vegan doesn't relate to cost in a way. You can
Seen
actually
any fluctuations in your weight?
yes, in a good way. So when I first went vegan, gained firstly a lot more energy, and second I dropped a lot of body fat. And more recently, so I'm training for High Rocks at the moment, obviously fueled by plants only. Yeah, dropped a lot of body fat, become leaner, built muscle, and I did a recent body composition test, and like all my indicators were optimal. Body fat percentage is just, yeah, really, really good. So compared to where I was pre-vegan, if you just put myself side by side, it's like drastic difference in a good way.
So day in the life, what's your, from morning to now, what do you eat?
Day in life. So start with, I usually have like a bowl of hot oats, oats with, you know, raspberries, strawberries, chia seeds, flax seeds, and then like an oat milk, soy milk. So you've got a mix of foods in there. Lunches, I usually have like a big bowl of stuff. I'll mix something like tofu and chickpeas or kidney beans, seitan. Seitan's really dense for protein foods as well, really good high protein source, with a load of veggies. And then dinner could be whatever, like spaghetti bolognese, could be curries, like half of the same foods I used to eat, just the vegan version.
So spaghetti bolognese is pretty much what I eat every day anyway.
Oh, is it?
So obviously
Okay.
you're using corn mince?
Not, because corn are like a vegetarian brand. Sometimes they have egg in it, sometimes they don't. So there's any other supermarkets has their own brand or other brands of like mince. But also you can have, like if you crumble up tofu or crumble up other foods, you can use it as a, or like use beans. Yeah, a lot of like kidney beans, chickpeas, butter beans, whatever it is. So like what I'd always recommend is like using Google and you put like vegan bolognese or vegan bolognese ideas, or put it into ChatGPT or something like that, and you get all these ideas of, because all you have to do is take the animal out, put it something else in, you get the same flavors, you know, same chopped tomatoes, same sauces, as long as they don't have obviously animal ingredients in. Yeah, so you can just, it's not a big drastic change to your life, just from, yeah, a couple of ingredient swaps for food and for clothing.
How long did the transition take you to become a vegan? I feel like I'm doing an interview on
Yeah,
you.
no, I like it. This is good. Like for me, it was pretty much, I'd say pretty much an overnight mindset change. So after watching Earthlings, one of the documentaries I recommended, from that moment onwards, I didn't purchase any sort of animal product. For some other people, some people like transition gradually, but the idea that I would say like veganism as a diet versus like an ethical stance. So if you're saying, right, from now on, I'm not going to pay for animals to be killed for food, for clothing, whatever, it's like that, it's instant. So you can, next time you go to the shops or a restaurant, you then make that choice of a compassionate, kind choice, or one that basically kills animals. So it can be as quickly as possible.
Is this compassion towards animals only or humans as well? In the sense that you see the Ukrainian woman on the bus or train, whatever, she got pierced in the neck.
What's this? Sorry, the
Ukrainian woman on the train in
oh
America.
right.
You remember?
When?
Uh,
I don't.
a week ago, a few days ago, she got stabbed.
Oh no, I haven't seen
You
that.
didn't know about
No.
Okay, well,
Okay, but
it was on the news anyway. So essentially a male unprovoked just from behind, just stabbed her in the neck, and she bled and passed away on the train. Now, people have argued, President Trump himself said instant death penalty. Now, is it worth housing these people in prison for 60, 70 years of the remainder of their life, or just put an end to them? How would you feel?
I mean, so like
you would need to see the video to get a better sort of.
I mean, from an ethical stance, like firstly, like veganism is about non-human animals, those that we exploit. So that mindset. But the same compassion for me extends to all beings. Like we're animals as well as non-human animals. So for me, whatever is the kindest and compassionate decision for someone, like we don't need to take the life of someone that's unnecessary. We don't need to exploit people, but we go into a whole world of humans exploiting humans, and that's a very different sort of territory.
So what about child slavery, shopping in Primark? Is that something you're against?
I mean, I'm against all forms of, I guess, exploitation for humans and animals. But again, it's like the difference between that and animals is when you buy a product, let's say a meat product, you're paying directly for an animal to die. Whereas when you go into a shop, sometimes there's people that are slightly more exploited, but it's not like a direct impact of an animal having to die. So there is some slight differences, but yeah, my advocacy is always about the animals and those that basically can't speak. But I think, you branch, there's so many things in this world that are unjust, and all the war, all the conflict, there's so much stuff, but obviously it's hard to focus on everything, but my passion is for the animals and speaking up for them, and that's why I always want the conversations to be around, because there's so much we can, but it's something as well that we have the power of as individuals to make choices of.
You know what my biggest struggle is? I'm a good cook and everything. I'm South Asian, so I'm good try. So basically, our diets are primarily vegetarian anyway.
Okay.
And I used to find growing up that.
Whereabouts are you from? Sorry if you don't mind me.
Sorry,
India, okay.
Gujarat.
Okay.
They're mainly vegetarian there. And I found that I could eat 3 kilograms of food, right? And I could still be hungry after. Whereas if I eat maybe 500 grams of chicken or something, or meat, it fills me up. And that's just one of the things about me is I don't know what it is, but like, I just get really hungry when I just eat vegetarian food. I know you're not going to want to hear this as a vegan, but I just don't feel full up until I've had meat. If that makes sense.
I think it's probably the types of food then. Like, for example, high protein foods, in theory, are more nutrient dense. They make you give that lot fuller feeling. And maybe the foods that you were eating was not enough, maybe like protein rich foods that are giving you that feeling. So
We
like,
used to have a lot of lentils.
okay, yeah. Like I'd say it's even like lentils and beans, they're, a fairly good source, but you can do better. Like you can get tofu, tempeh, seitan, 3 really protein-rich foods. And
You guys have got something that can duplicate the resemblance of having chicken.
yeah, I mean, if you go to like a supermarket, they have like vegan chicken breasts, vegan chicken pieces, vegan bacon, vegan whatever it might be. They've got all the plant-based alternatives that taste like chicken and they're also high in protein. Like I shop at Lidl and they do their whole like meat-free fridge range.
I'm gonna pop down into Lidl and just have a look at that myself.
Yeah, they've got a whole.
It's more expensive, I'd imagine.
I mean, you get like a pack for like $1.99, but again, I haven't bought like animal products for a while, but so I can't compare. But $1.99 for a whole pack that's like 20 to 30 grams of protein in. But yeah, and you can get mince from there. You can get vegan cheeses from there. If you just go to their meat-free section, you can get.
What's a good alternative for milk?
Milk, I personally prefer soy, but the majority of people that I speak to prefer oat milk, and that's generally in like the public of the UK. People that aren't even vegan now drink oat milk for taste, for better in their guts.
What about coconut milk?
I mean, I don't mind it. It depends, like, I think a lot of people have coconut milk for things like matchas and coffees, and obviously different type of coconut milk for things like curries. But yeah, I mean, I'm not against coconut milk's good, but also like now in the supermarket you've got pea milk, macadamia milk, rice milk. Yeah, like
From like peas?
yeah, it's like there's so many ways you can get milk now. But I think the top ones would probably be soy, oats, almond, and coconut are kind of the 4 biggest in the country. But generally, like most coffee shops will always have oat milk, and that's the most likely similarity to cow's milk in like coffees and stuff, and it mixes well and tastes good.
And in terms of when, if we're just talking in the wild, animals eating animals, how does that reflect on you?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot.
Biological point of view.
Yeah, so like animals eating other animals in the wild, it's always interesting because people often will go and talk about lions catching a gazelle, which is, that's what's happened in nature. That isn't something that we as humans have inflicted upon, but also you could pick other animals in the wild, for example, the rhinos, the hippos, who just eat plants. But like we as humans are not related to what happens in the wild, because the animals that we kill and eat, like chickens, they're bred in farms and they're put into slaughterhouses and factories and for refrigeration. It's like so detached from any wild animal, and we've done this on an industrial scale. So I feel like wild animals are very different, and the fact that we're not exploiting them, that's what would happen in nature as such. And the things that don't happen in nature is something like this van in the middle of a high street. That's not part of any circle of life.
Is it bad to eat animals who've died of natural death, or like roadkills, for example?
Yeah, a few people have said about roadkill, but obviously the idea is you're still kind of saying, it's this idea of how can you benefit from them? How can you get something from an animal when you don't need to have that mindset of what could I get from them? But also you've got like the health implications. So, if you're consuming cholesterol, you're consuming saturated fats, and for example, like sausages, ham, they're class 1 carcinogens by the World Health Organization because they're highly processed and directly cause.
Sausage and ham.
So yeah, highly processed meats like sausages, ham, bacon, they are class 1 carcinogens, which is same level as like cigarettes, tobacco, which is like. But then back in years ago, doctors used to promote cigarettes and tobacco as part of their sort of industry, and now the same thing's happening with like promoted meat. And actually, if you look at the health aspects, they're directly linked to causing cancers and diseases. So, but yeah, knowing that you don't have to eat roadkill, you don't have to eat animals, you can just eat plants and get all the nutrition that you need.
I think what we need to do is we need to sort of turn our attention and focus to making things that can resemble chicken, and just like the alternatives.
Yeah, which we do.
And just make them as accurate as possible to like tasting like.
And it's a case, because if you haven't looked for it, it's a case of like trying it, because they'll have different brands of them, and you'll find the ones that you do like, some you don't like. And that's it. It's all part of a journey. Like one of the things after when I went vegan, I never had so many different foods in my life, like even more like healthy foods like fruits, vegetables, beans. Like I've experimented so much more now and enjoy cooking more and feeling better for it. So it's just a case like now you've been made aware that all these alternatives exist and that you can be healthy, you can build muscle and not have to pay for animals to be slaughtered, which when you watch those documentaries, that will be the biggest thing that will hit you.
I wonder if these that were watching that documentary right now on the screen over there, would they still be buying that meat?
Yeah, exactly, that's it. So I'm an animal rights activist, so I do a lot of events, and one of the things is we will set up with screens and people will go and watch a 3-minute movie, and people go vegan like on the spot after watching that. So yeah, we would have similar things where people would make that connection between the product on the shelf and an animal.
Because the thing is that, let's be real, we look at it and we just see it as dinner for tonight. We don't see it as what it was.
Exactly. And that's the purpose, like you're so disconnected from a piece of product on a shelf versus like an individual, like a lamb or a pig that's being forced into a gas chamber and suffocating to death. Most people wouldn't kill the animals themselves. And that's the disconnect between, us being brainwashed in society and marketing.
It's like you snitch on someone, right? It causes their death. Like you snitch on someone to a hitman, and you haven't killed them, but you contribute towards it.
Exactly. It's exactly that. It's like paying for an assassin, paying for a hitman. You're paying for someone else to kill because you don't want to see, because it's bad in the back of your mind. You know you don't want to do it, and it's that disconnect that the industry is.
Yeah, if someone gave me a knife and told me to chef up a lamb or something,
yeah,
there's no way on earth I'm doing that. Even if they told me that's your dinner for tonight.
Exactly.
Bro, get a sign up, say open for discussions or questions, so people can approach you.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought you were with like the Boscombe News or something. I didn't even see that sign.
Yeah. So what I would, because it was chucking it down when I first got here. Like I usually, I've got a whiteboard and I ask questions on and get people to come over. But obviously I just brought that on today because it's waterproof and now it's really hot and sunny. But yeah, it's a good way to engage people, and yeah, whether it's TV screens, signs. And that's why I'm trying to just do more and more. And I also, if you're interested, I don't know if you would be, but I often go and stand outside slaughterhouses with a group that I organise. So we'll go outside a slaughterhouse, we'll see animals going in on the trucks, and it's quite transformative in terms of seeing the victims as such. And then I post lots of videos about that. So obviously you said you're not on social media, but yeah, there's a lot that, again, reaching people and getting people to come to events and stuff. So I mean, you sound to me like a vegan. You've got that compassion. It's just you've got the why, and that's the most important thing. And I'll especially reinforce that. Watch one of those documentaries. Watch The Land of Hope and Glory when you get home. And then all the question is the how. And like you're asking the good questions of, okay, what sort of good brands of vegan chicken can I get, or whatever. And that's it. It's just next time you go to the supermarket, it's just, you look for the meat-free aisle, you look from the back of packets, and you can just get a vegan option. And now you've got a phone, you've got Google, that's going to be your best friend.
I don't really consume a lot of what I do. I just, spag bol is pretty much what I eat. I meal prep, right? So if I can just cook a tasty spag bol, which is meat and nutritional value, I don't even deep what is inside the spag bol I'm eating it. As long as it's got the nutritional value, fills me up, and it tastes good, I'm sorted. So maybe I can do that. There you go. And then also, eggs, there's alternatives. I don't really consume eggs anyway, I'm wrong. Find an alternative for eggs when I eat. Alternative for milk. That's about it, bro. I don't really eat much more than that.
That's it.
And then pizza.
That's how easy it is.
But like, if you're trying to like dine and get vegetarian pizza, where's a good spot to get vegetarian pizza? Not vegetarian, or vegan.
Sorry, from like a supermarket or?
Say you're dining somewhere. Like margarita's not gonna be vegan, is it?
No, but a lot of restaurants will have vegan cheese now. So they do like a vegan mozzarella, they do vegan whatever. So like, for example, Papa John's, they've got their menu, they've got a whole vegan section. They do vegan Hawaiian, they do vegan protein works, whatever they call it, with all the like fake bits of meat on, like vegan sausage, vegan. So you get like Domino's, they all have vegan options now.
Can you tell, how long ago did you make the switch?
Nearly 5 years ago.
Would you still remember the taste of a traditional meat feast or whatever?
Yeah, I mean,
can you tell the difference when you have a vegan one?
I mean, so now I think it tastes better, but what's interesting is, so your taste buds will reset, I think it's like every 2 to 3 weeks. So as soon as you stop that and go onto the new foods, that becomes your new taste buds, and you will adapt. And yeah, a lot of these foods, most people, there's a few companies that do like taste tests, and they'll say, I don't know if you've seen the famous one on, I think it was BBC News or something, where they got a sausage expert on, and they put 2 plates in front of them, they gave him a vegan sausage roll and a meat sausage roll. They got him to say which one he preferred. He said, oh, this one's awful, that's got to be the vegan one, and he said, this one's delicious, it's the meat one. And then eventually they revealed that they were both vegan. So, that's for the sausage expert. So yeah, nowadays, maybe not 10, 20 years ago, it probably wasn't as good in terms of like for like, but now, yeah, I would not taste even the difference.
I imagine it tastes better when you got that empathy as well, you know?
Yeah, 100%, because you're knowing that a lot of people that have actually said that maybe by mistake, if they've been given like an animal product by mistake, they said that all they taste is like farms, and like it gives you a very different taste. So the idea that, knowing that your food has just come from plants and not from an animal that's been fearful, been gassed alive, and been covered in blood and all of that. It's just no hormones. You just you can live happy and living.
What is your genuine opinion on somebody who's vegan 45 weeks a year, and then they just have like a cheat meal of like a genuine meat? Would you say that's better than having meat all throughout the year, or were they fake vegans? Well, obviously they're not going to be true.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's more of like your what do they call it, flexitarian, like plant-based, because vegans like don't exploit animals for food, clothing, whatever. So I mean, obviously from the animal's perspective, if everyone went vegan for 48 weeks a year, think of the billions of animals that wouldn't need to die for that. And think of the billions of animals that you're saving. Like if the whole population could do that, you know, that's amazing. But if you can do it for that long, why would you need to have a cheat meal every now and then, knowing that you have all the same delicious foods? So obviously I advocate completely for veganism, and that you don't need those cheat meals, because you can have the same tasting cheat meals anyway.
Yeah, the thing is, brother, I'm from the Midlands, and down here you don't really appreciate good food. And I'm sorry to say this, man, they do some beautiful food back home. I'm talking deep filled sandwiches, burgers, and just like, right now I'm thinking, I don't want to lie to you and say I'm going to make the switch, and then it's like, I can't tell you that I've had my last meal at these places in the past, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it right now. But I'm saying to myself that maybe I could do 48 weeks a year, and then those 4 weeks, once a week I can just treat myself to a cheap meal or something.
So what is it, like a chain restaurant or like a local restaurant that you've got in your
It's a
mind?
bit like a local.
Okay.
thing, yeah.
Because even in those
I
scenarios,
can't imagine giving up for life, brother. I'm really sorry.
Well, two things. So the first thing is, for those existing places, find out, because you probably wouldn't have asked before, do they have vegan options of what you currently have? Because if they taste that good, they're probably going to taste very similar to the vegan option. But secondly, before even if you committed right now to doing 48 weeks a year, that's great because of the animals you're saving. But I would say, let's see what you say after watching the documentary.
That is
Because
true. I ain't seen the documentary.
that it will be the most transformative thing. But the fact you're already 48 weeks out of 52 there already, I think the documentary could reinforce that and just change your perception. So, but you've got that open mind, which I love, and a lot of people have. Some people don't. And
You guys get too much slack, man, for doing the right thing.
but this is it. Yeah, we get so much hate and probably a lot of these comments.
Because you seem like a normal guy, bro. You dress like a normal individual. I didn't even know you were like. Some of
Yeah.
these people sometimes they dress as hippies and they're doing all these dances and stuff, and it draws like a bit of a cult sort of. Attraction,
Yeah,
you know?
there's a
You just like
we get a bad
normal
rep.
guy.
We get a bad
You get
rep.
a bad rep.
Yeah, and all we're literally doing is being like, can you just be kind to animals? And that's
You're
it.
not asking for a lot, are you?
No, it's really not. We're just like, can you just leave animals alone? But it's such a big thing, such a lot of hate, and it's like, okay, fine, but it's not going to stop us from trying to speak up. But
You're doing the right thing, bro. And there's a vacant seat for you in heaven as well. Waiting for you.
Appreciate
Got
that.
your name on it. Nah, man, I'm gonna.
then you
look
can be the
into it,
same.
bro.
Yeah, that's it. But we need more people like you as well to have that open mind and say, yeah, I will watch this documentary. But
You know, the thing is, actually, we do what's easy for us, don't we? You know, something that's convenient. We don't have to go out of our way, but
yeah,
I will do my.
And when you think of that convenience, like, oh, I've got to go to a different supermarket, or I've got to go to a different aisle in the supermarket, that extra few meters in the supermarket is a bit of inconvenience, but how much inconvenience does that animal have? And all those animals there that were forced and shot in the head and have their throat sliced.
Does he give you a dirty look, this guy?
Oh yeah. I can't imagine we're going to be best friends.
No.
But yeah, so like any slight inconveniences for you, it's far worse for the animals. So take that with you. But I
I'm
mean,
gonna watch those documentaries.
yeah, if you want to take my number and drop me any messages, you can. But
But
otherwise,
I know two vegans who
Oh,
would
okay.
probably be
there's any
interested in
answer.
reaching out to you.
yeah. I mean, I can put my channel on there if you've got
Put
any.
your number and you can text me or something.
Because like genuinely, I want to help people, and yeah, that's.
You
my-
want to help people help the animals.
Exactly, because we
What's
need
your
more
name?
of it. It's Alex.
Alex, that's it.
And my channel, so Alex Activism, so YouTube, Instagram. And yeah, see what your friend vegans as well, see if, there's anything they want to do in terms of activism. Happy to, I've tried lots of different forms of activism
Alex,
out.
what activism?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, on Instagram, YouTube. So yeah, please do drop me a message after you've watched the documentary, and
I will,
'cause
bro.
and that leaflet. So it's got a lot of the house, like vegan swaps and stuff. It's
I've
got
got a uni
resources.
starting on Monday, so I've got a pre-reading to be doing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't watch it
But I've
today,
got
but
your number.
yeah.
I will watch it. and
Yeah,
I'm gonna
please
get my
do.
dad to watch it as well. My dad's always trying to be vegetarian, but he said
This
it
could
agrees
be
with
the
his stomach
push
better.
then.
He says that meat fucks with his stomach.
Yeah, which is kind of normal. A lot of people get health issues from eating meat, and
He
you find that
suffers
eating
like bloating
plants.
and shit. So when he's eating like vegetarian and stuff, or like he's not really ever delved into the vegan sort of sector. But I better would agree with the stomach, It's my mom who sort of pressures him. I've cooked this food and that food, you have to eat it now. But mind you, my mom does cook vegetarian. My dad is pretty much vegan because we don't put much like milk, dairy stuff inside. He's basically vegan.
And that's like just tiny bits. Then you just have to, like, you've already made a big change, so it's just that tiny
Effie,
adjustment.
Is that dairy?
I believe it is. Yeah.
There's a lot of that though.
Yeah. But
Which is good for the
again,
gut.
yeah. But
There must be alternatives out there.
again, I'd say just Google what equivalent you can get from a plant-based
Talk to me
diet.
about dairy, forgive me.
Yeah.
Cows for example, right?
I can explain what happens to cows.
You take the milk out of a cow, in what way does that sort of affect the cow?
So, I'll rattle through exactly the dairy industry, what happens to cows. So, female cows, firstly, they're artificially inseminated. So they get the semen from a bull, which you can imagine how they get that. They take the semen and they inject it into the female cow using a metal rod.
How did they do it back in the day, first of all, 300, 400 years ago?
I
Before
mean,
all of
the
these-
dairy industry never used to be as big at all. So now where we've got the whole production cycle, it's very different the last 50 to 100 years versus what we did back in the day.
Was it more ethical back then for the dairy?
I mean, I would imagine that because you have far less cows, you have far less milk. I think people wouldn't be having milk every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But coming back to why cows produce milk. So once that cow has been inseminated with the bull's semen, they become pregnant. And then, like humans, 9 months of pregnancy, they give birth. The cow then produces the milk, not because they're a cow, because they're a mother. So we as humans, or females, produce milk for their young.
I realised that
But
only
people-
pregnant cows can produce milk.
Exactly.
I used to think this was what cows are born to do.
Yeah, and that's again such a misconception. People think that cows just produce milk, but cows do it because they're mammals like us,
Right.
and we're the only species that drinks another species' milk. When you think about that, that's kind of mental as well. So yeah, they produce that milk for their young, but the issue is just making sure that. I thought my camera's going to die. Let me just charge my phone up.
How many views you got? 33.
If someone could just put in the chat if we're still live, I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell. The internet's been a bit bad. Signal's good. Cheers, Mel. And Steve, I don't know who's commenting. So anyway, so let's say the cow is pregnant, they go and give birth to their young. The problem now is that their babies are taken from them. So if they're male, they're then either shot or sent for veal because they're no use to the dairy industry. So the veal industry is basically baby male
They can't
cows.
just set them back in the wild, like not the wild, but like in a farm.
Often not.
So
Because
this would be
they're
a hybrid between
they're-
a bull and a cow.
because they're if they're male, because this is in the dairy industry, not the beef industry. Dairy industry are focused on milk basically. So they're useless. They're waste products. So the males are shot and killed usually within a week, sold to the veal industry as cheap meat as babies. If they're females, they are still separated from the mothers and they'll be put into like calf hutches, and then once they're old enough, they go through the same cycle of impregnation. And so the milk that the mother is then producing for her young, instead of giving it to her young, the milk is taken, packaged up and sold in supermarkets. And then the cows should live to at least 20 years old, usually about 3-4 years old. Cows, because they've been repeatedly impregnated and squeezed for milk, they then become they produce less milk, they're becoming a bit, health conditions, they become spent in the industry. So they then send the dairy cows to slaughterhouses about 4 years old, and then they're sold and basically chopped up for cheap meats like burgers and mince. So think of that life of the cow there, forcibly impregnated,
It's like
cycle
Harry
after.
Potter, like when have you seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Like raising Harry Potter just so he dies at the right
Oh
moment.
right, I was going to think where you're going with this, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
And then Snape even says you raise him like a pig for slaughter.
exactly.
This is why they're brought into the world. To give us milk and then they kill
Just
us.
to use and exploit. Yeah, so after a few cycles of impregnations, their babies taken, their milk taken, they're then sent to slaughter. So
Yeah, I always thought, bro, like they're happily roaming in a farm, like on a
this
on a
is the
green
image
grass
that
and,
they want you to believe.
just during lunch break, lunchtime, they just milk them and they're back on the farm eating grass, living their best life in the sunny. But no, they're probably, the reality is they're in like a dark environment and they're getting milked and then they get shot and that's it on to the next one. Is that what it's like? Yeah, it's kind of
It's horrible because you see like the adverts on TV. Same with like chickens. You see them roaming around grassy land and they're having a happy time. The reality is so different. Like I've been to dairy farms, I've been to chicken farms. You see with your own eyes what happens, and it's so hidden. And they do that for a reason, because if people saw what we do to animals, it's like the old idea of free range and organic. Which for a chicken, it means you have the size of an A4 piece of paper space for a chicken. You can house 16,000 chickens in a barn, and that's free range. So, yeah, this is what we do to animals.
How did you get entry into these areas?
So it was after I
You
watched.
undercover? Or was
As in, how do I go in to see it for myself? Yeah.
you
I
were
mean,
the last person in one of them places.
because I've obviously been to a lot of slaughterhouses and you see the animals coming on the trucks, but around here there's a lot of farms, and you can just, even from like public spaces, you can see the farms, you can see the animals there, you can see the conditions.
You've been inside.
I have been, and it's the smell is the worst thing you could probably imagine.
Now, would you at the expense of exploiting a few animals, would you get a job there and start filming undercover?
That's an interesting idea.
The
But
greater good, the awareness you could raise. You know, Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're in these. You are literally working. You are essentially, you are the people that are breeding and killing these things. I'm not saying you got to put a gun to their head, but you working there for a good few months or whatever. You get all this footage and content. You release it out there. You quit your job. You might get a few lawsuits against you, or whatever. But in your books, personal books, is that going to be the greater good for you?
it's an interesting idea. I think if it hadn't have already been done, I think it's a really interesting topic. So there's someone I know that has actually done a similar thing in slaughterhouses. So basically got a job there, undercover, took a GoPro or whatever in and filmed it all and exposed them. And we ideally would want more people to do that. But the fact is we have got pretty much every type of footage available from all sorts of slaughterhouses, from farms, that the videos exist. And it's a case of getting those videos to the right people. I could go in right now and film a load of pigs in a farm, but the power is then getting that to the general public, and I think that's where a lot of effort needs to be now. Is we've done a lot of organisations are funded specifically for that, animal rights organisations, that you don't need to get necessarily a job at the farm. You go in as an investigator, you get the same footage, and you could expose it the same way. So yeah, there's investigations that you can do without having a job, but it's just getting that footage out there, because I've got lots of footage, and it's like you post it on social media, you get quite a few views, but how do you get that out to more people?
What was that show that everyone watched and they start feeling sorry for the fish or something?
Seaspiracy, maybe?
Seaspiracy, I think.
Yeah, Seaspiracy. I'd recommend watching that if you haven't
I've not
already.
watched it. Did you watch
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It was on. It might still be
Was
on
it like
Netflix.
people were empathetic towards one fish who was reaching out to another or something like that?
I'm not sure which.
I can't remember what it was, but it was on Netflix.
Okay.
And a lot of people were just feeling very upset for that fish. Or something, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, there's quite a
I
few
need
on
to watch
Netflix,
that.
but and again, it's like the idea of if you eat fish, but you don't, and obviously for the fish, they don't want to die either, but people, let's say, don't have much of a connection to tuna as they do to like a dolphin or a turtle. People love those animals, but they don't realise by buying that fish in the bycatch, you're also killing sharks, dolphins, and turtles in those big trawler nets. So there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's like everyone saying you're complicit in genocide in Gaza. They say that to the government here and shit. We are complicit in all this bullshit.
Exactly, on a huge scale.
It's selective empathy, isn't it? If we're more empathetic towards a human than an animal. Life is life.
Yeah, and because we have that sort of privilege of being this sort of power hierarchy, and that we can exploit. They don't have voices. They can't fight back or
Do you feel
anything.
a spider in your room?
No. Because I mean,
If it's the biggest, scariest spider.
I don't like to think I'm like speciesist, but I'm terrified of spiders. Like, hate them. They creep me out. But I'm still not going to kill them. I would still get a pot and I'd take them elsewhere. Put them back into another room or outside.
What about a housefly? A fly that's just pissing you off in your kitchen?
I mean, they might be annoying, but just gonna let them be. You open the window and they'll fly back out. Same with wasps. But yeah, again, it's like you don't have to do those things to those animals. You can be kind to them.
You see these same flies feasting on shit on the ground, and then they enter your kitchen, they're sitting on surfaces or sitting on your food.
Yeah.
So that's one I'm gonna have to really work towards. Not
Just
killing
try.
the fly.
Yeah, you open the window
Like,
and.
the thing is, brother, I open a window, right? And they'll do anything but go out through the window. They're banging against the window, right? Adjacent to it.
Yeah.
Which will not leave through the window. And I've done this in the past. I've opened the window and I said, like, okay, I'm kind to you here. I'm giving you the opportunity to leave. When they don't leave, man, I'm sorry to say I've ended their lives.
It was funny because I say it's funny. It's a story from years ago when I was with my family, and this is well before I was vegan, and there was a fly that landed on my knee, and at that point I was like, oh, I wanted to make this fly like a little pet of mine because it stayed with me for a couple of days.
How old were you,
I was quite young. This is well before I
So
was
you've
vegan.
always had this in you.
Exactly, and I remember that fly was eventually killed, and I started crying. I got really upset at a fly, but that was well before I was vegan. I still didn't make the connection with any of the other animals that we were killing, and it's funny because we all have, different people have different compassions for different animals in their lives. They've had different experiences.
You know, we've got to look at babies, toddlers, see how they interact with animals and
Exactly.
nature, because I feel like we are programmed to sort of understand that this is food. This isn't a lamb, this isn't a chicken, this isn't a fish, this is food.
Yeah.
But it's like, you've seen that video, a black baby and a white baby on a train, and they were befriending each other's. They don't even know what racism
Exactly,
is.
because we get into society where you're brainwashed by marketing, by billboards, whatever it is. But yeah, it's like I think I can't remember who said it, but it's like if you give a baby a rabbit and a carrot, let me know when they play with the carrot and eat the rabbit. Like, so it's because when you're so young, you're not taught any of these prejudices and injustices. You're taught to just be natural, be kind. So
if you think a child was put out in the wild, what do you think they would go towards eating?
all I'm thinking now is like the Jungle Book, making friends with the wolves. But obviously who knows what would happen in that scenario? But we don't have that scenario, so yeah.
All right then.
But yeah, I mean, I hope that this has really made you think.
No, it's made me think, 100%. I am going to struggle, and I promise you, like,
You're not going to struggle. You might think you might struggle, but that's just something that you've already got as a challenge. We haven't even tried yet.
I will
so.
tell you one thing though. I'm not going to tell you tonight I'm going to be a vegan, but it's definitely a goal that I'm going to work towards. The reason is I've got a lot on my plate with uni, and I've got OCD as well. So when I have routines, I stick with my routines. But once I'm in control of uni and I've got a bit more money, and because I do believe that I think veganism is a little bit more expensive for myself with my ambitions with gym and eating right and everything. But it's something that in the future, maybe I might see you in a year or 2 years time, I might see you as a full vegan. It's
I hope that's the
definitely,
case,
the
yeah.
things happening is, you made me aware, and it's the things I've
the
learned.
first thing.
I can take this with have conversations with other people.
Absolutely.
I may not be a vegan, but I can
Still advocate for the animals,
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, I think before you've already made up the mind if you're going to be vegan or not, is watch that documentary,
I will, man.
and then drop me a text or whatever it is once you've seen it, because that's
How
the
long
most
that is
powerful
about
thing.
interest?
Say that again,
How
sorry.
long are the documentaries?
So the Land of Hope and Glory is only about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The Dominion Earthlings I think are slightly longer, but yeah, it's just 40 minutes of your time. It's
If you give a drop call, make sure you got my number. I've got yours.
yeah, please do. Yeah.
Amount of
it'll probably
times
ring
I'm
this
giving a
phone,
girl my
actually.
number, and I'm doubting if I gave her the right one. 'Cause I don't
Or did
hear
you do
back
it on
from them.
purpose?
No, I just didn't hear back from them, bro. I've given false numbers, I've given real numbers out.
Let's see if.
So.
Yeah, I'll wait to see if it should come through on here.
Oh, I forgot. My name is Rohan.
Rohan,
Nice to meet you, bro.
lovely to meet you, and thank you for having an open conversation.
No, bro, I appreciate
It's
it.
nice to meet other compassionate, but also people that are like intrigued. Like you obviously
People
stopped
that are
by.
willing to learn. Like I said,
That's it. We need more
can't
people
always
like
be
you.
right, and we're not always right. But if we're willing to be right, there's a quote I read on this. It's like the difference between a smart person and a not smart person is not how much one knows, but how much one is willing to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So listen, I appreciate your time, man.
I don't know if you ever watched Ted Lasso at all, or it's in that series. Anyway, there's a good quote from that. Was always like, "Be curious, not judgmental," and that's always stayed with me.
These guys are interested for conversation.
Yeah, they look curious.
What are you doing, church? You're singing or you're preaching or what are you up to?
Sadly, not singing.
You're preaching, are you?
We're not preaching. We're preaching, educate, raising awareness for animals.
For animals.
For animals.
Good
So
on you.
that sign.
Good on you. You vegetarians.
I'm in the process of working towards it. Well,
So-
we're also vegan.
Yeah. So I'm vegan. Been vegan for nearly
Oh, yeah.
5
I'm
years.
not vegan, so I bet he is, and we were just on a
I did 3 or 4 years as a vegan.
And why did you go vegan in the first
dog
place?
will always return to its own vomit. And I did But I ought to go back. My girlfriend, since the age of 3, of her own volition, was a vegetarian. But yeah, only became vegan to outdo her. But, anyway.
Yeah, it's having, like, for me, it was watching a documentary of what happens to animals and knowing
Cruelty
that.
aspect. The cruelty
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah, like,
As well as the health aspect.
exactly.
It's killing us.
It is, it is.
Eating all that wrong food is killing us.
It really is. Yeah, and obviously, like that meat van's out there today trying to sell body parts essentially of babies, and that's what I'm trying to make the connection that, like, pigs are 6 months old, chickens are 6 weeks old when they're killed, and we don't need to consume them. Like, you know, I've been 5 years without eating any animal product, happy and healthy, and it's just
You know
raising that
what happens
awareness.
to baby calves, don't you? You belong to Viva, do you?
I've worked a lot. Actually, I've got Viva leaflets with me, which is what I gave to you. Yeah, yeah.
Viva.
Yeah, let me grab one for you. Oh, there goes the water bottle. So, like that, the brand, company,
That's it.
organisation, Viva. But yeah, this
I
is,
subscribe to them.
yeah. So that,
Yeah.
feel free to take
You
one
eat
of them
meat?
with you.
I don't eat meat.
Just seen you eat a burger. You'd like.
Yeah, about once a month. I just
But-
had a beef burger,
Right, right. But knowing that you,
but I had double cheese and ketchup on it, just destroys the taste of the meat.
Do you know how to tell if
But I
somebody's a
don't eat
vegan?
meat as a part
they'll
of my
tell you.
diet.
Speak to
Is
them
that
for
what?
30 seconds.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, like,
It's rather sad, isn't it? And you see cows with massive great udders where they've been full up with
yeah.
God knows what.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there, but on the back is a really good website with, like, the vegan swap. So instead of buying the beef burger, you get 100 other different burgers made from plants that you can buy. Same with vegan cheeses or milks. As I was trying to explain, like, there's so many alternatives now. And when you always have the animals in your mind, that whatever choice you make, that you have the power to either, take that animal's life for your meal or
Even I
not.
go to a church called the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay, if you look them up, they're one of the longest living people on the planet. You know what a blue zone
Oh,
is?
yes,
don't
yeah,
you?
no, the blue zones, yeah.
Yeah, in California there's a place called Loma Linda where they train the doctors and nurses up, and that's the only blue zone in America.
Yes,
And
yeah.
they're vegans.
Remember
Not-
watching
Not always
the-
vegans. Thing. Oh, did you watch?
It's on Netflix, it was like,
Conspiracy, Cowspiracy. Was
yes,
that one?
yeah, that's another
Yeah,
good
yeah.
documentary, Cowspiracy.
Yes,
There's a lot on Netflix.
I watched Seaspiracy. Since that day, I've never had a dolphin.
There you go. But people don't realise that when you buy fish, you're paying for dolphins to be killed.
I know.
And that's what, yeah, it's the Seaspiracy, the documentary is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's raising that awareness and trying to,
If they took children to an abattoir.
yeah. If slaughterhouses that had glass walls,
Yeah.
the world would
Yeah.
be vegan. Yeah,
And there's a bit in the Bible. You've heard of Daniel in the Bible?
briefly, but
Right,
not,
I'll
my
tell
knowledge
you the
isn't
quick
great.
story. He can tell it better. Right, there's 3 of them. Go on, tell them what their names.
All those people hanging.
Daniel in the Bible, and Abednego, Meshach.
Big nigger.
Anyway, these 3 fellas, they were taken from Jerusalem, wasn't it?
They were taken from Israel up to Babylon.
Up to Babylon, and they were given all the food to eat that the king Nebuchadnezzar had. Okay, and they said to this eunuch who was feeding them, he said, right, we don't want all that stuff that's been meat and God knows what. He said, I'll be in trouble if I don't give you the best food. He said, just give us 10 days, and if we don't look better than them, and they ate vegetarian diet, nothing else, and after 10 days they looked healthier than everybody else. There's
There we
a good
go.
one for you. Every day's a school day, son.
Yeah, what, like, how would you refer to that? Like, what,
Well, if
what's
you-
the story called?
It's in the Bible. If you
Yeah.
just Google, if you just,
Because I often get
It's in the book
people,
of Daniel. It's in the book of Daniel.
where
Okay.
in the book of Daniel does it say he refused to eat the meat for
This
Nebuchadnezzar?
is Daniel 7, maybe. I'm not
because
sure.
yeah, there's a really good documentary called Christspiracy, which touches on to, like, obviously Christianity, and
The book of Daniel describes his refusal to eat the king's food.
I'm right. Thank you very much, though.
There's no meat in it.
There might be. Do you know extra strong mints have got gelatine?
Yeah, sometimes they do have gelatin in.
Chapter 1, verse 8 explains
Let's
Daniel
see.
determined not to defile himself.
There we go.
That's
Ah,
worth
very
reading.
interesting. Thank you
You
for
an
that
atheist, are
insight.
you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, as in, I mean,
Okay. Here's one for you then. Go on AI and ask it what the chances are of 3.5 billion letters in your DNA happening by chance. It's like 10 to the power of like a trillion, and then it will say, yeah, but you can't look at it that way. I have my own company, a limited company doing home improvements, and I say to people, if you can show me the most minute piece of evidence for evolution, you can have all what I do for free. Try that one.
Good sales pitch.
Well,
Cool.
nobody's managed it yet.
Yeah.
And you could, well, there's some interesting stuff off YouTube and it's complete and utter bollocks. And the more that you get into it, the more you realise it is copyless. Britain's got the biggest collection of fossils in the whole wide world. There's not one fossil that shows anything morphing into something else. And check out National Geographic. 2 Chinese people sold them what they thought was a like a pterodactyl or small dinosaur bird, morphing into one with feathers. Anyway, it was a beauty, and then National Geographic announced it, and it turned out these 2 farmers had made it with Chinese Great American anything. And they got paid 50 grand for a Mickey Mouse
wow.
thing. But yeah.
But yeah, so you were vegan for 3 years though, and you can be vegan in your religion, which is
Well, you should be, really,
Yeah.
shouldn't you?
because yeah,
Not fair to animals, is
no,
it?
we should be kind to them. But that's
Jesus
interesting.
used to be fish though, right?
Huh?
Jesus, that story of the fish.
Sorry?
You know the story where Jesus fed, like, he turned like
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
fish
yeah.
into 1,000?
I agree. But I think he would want you to not eat meat if you give him the opportunity. Are you Muslim?
Complicated. I know a lot about that religion, you know, the miracles in the Quran and everything.
Yeah.
So,
You know the Bible's 10 times bigger. 10 times bigger.
when you say bigger,
Okay, for example, if you're a Muslim, you just can't eat pork. You can eat all the other crap, right? If you're a Christian, if you are going to eat meat, you can't eat pig, you can't eat rabbits, and anything that comes out of water, you can't eat anything unless it's got fins and scales. Like you couldn't eat a shark, it's got fins but it hasn't got scales. And so that's very interesting. So the Quran was it's stolen from the Bible. That's my argument.
have you seen the miracles in the Quran?
I'm sure there are. Satan can perform wonders.
I know, I'm going to go into like a religious
Yeah.
debate here, I'll be honest, but
You're recording all this.
At the moment, streaming at the moment, yeah.
Okay,
So
where's it going?
YouTube.
Oh, well
so.
done. I don't want to go on there. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll leave you to it.
Well, it was
Yeah.
a great little chat.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for
we
stopping
really
by.
wandered over because we thought we was going to get a song.
Oh, sadly,
Where
I'm
is
not.
it?
I'm not a great singer, unfortunately.
Well, no chance of a few bars then before we go?
Sadly not. Sadly not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but maybe.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for stopping by, and yeah, you got the leaflet and stuff, and yeah,
Yeah.
hope it. You know, always have the animals in your mind.
How milk has become part of a natural staple diet in Europe, I don't understand, and do you? I don't suppose you do. No animal weans a different species to itself. Milk is great nourishment for cows.
For a baby cow.
And I ask myself, where does cancer come from?
I beg to
Milk,
differ.
milk doesn't help. Milk
We're the only
doesn't help.
species that drinks another species' milk.
What about ants? They get milk off green fly.
I mean, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah,
If
but
that's
they're
if
probably
that's true, but
Yeah, but they're probably the same family, aren't they?
Right, let's
Anyway,
go.
whichever way, milk's not good for you, dairy's not good for you, processed food, sugar's not good for you. All you can eat is vegetable. Cancer cannot live without sugar. You can't go in any store, any supermarket, without every aisle is full of processed food. All processed food has sugar. Cancer can't live without sugar. Make your own mind up, you know.
Well done for going and doing
Vegetarian
what
is
you're
the
doing.
way.
thank you. Yeah, it's just trying to get more people to make that connection and
food is the
realise
way.
it is, absolutely is. Cool. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I think that anyway. Might be right, might be wrong. But that's what we think.
Yeah, appreciate that. Bye bye. There we go. That could very easily turn into a quickly religious debate, and which fine to do, but that's not my special area of debate. So, but yeah, thanks for stopping by, and yeah, like I say, please do drop me a text after you've watched it, because you might have more questions, or you might, you know, whatever it might be. So, yeah, good, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you for stopping by. Bye-bye. Right, so I am back. Yeah, that was a long debate with Rohan and also the other two that came in, so I've missed absolutely everything for probably the last hour or however long I've been away. So if anyone wants to fill me in on the chat, what's been going on. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because you reach some compassionate people. You know, that guy, hopefully now after watching that documentary, is everything he needs now to go vegan. So yeah, I think it's been really useful, really insightful, and it's just nice to meet someone else who's compassionate and just needs that last bit of guidance to being vegan. So yeah, please do. I hope the conversation's been okay. Yes, apologies. Obviously, I haven't seen any of the comments for the past 45 minutes or however long I was chatting for, but hopefully you were listening in and tuning into that discussion. It wasn't a debate. It was a good, productive discussion. And yeah, I hope that maybe if you were watching, you might have learned something from what I said to the gentleman I spoke to. I'm not sure if he probably wasn't on camera for a lot of the time, but obviously you would have picked up his audio. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of that outreach. Let me know what you thought, what I said was good, what I said was bad. Yeah, please do let me know. Someone's just put, can you tell me what's going on? So yeah, I'm just standing here in the high street in front of a meat van, speaking to the public, and I'm holding a placard that says, "Do you eat babies?" There's a placard just beneath me with an image of a lamb saying, "Do you eat babies?" Oh, hi Laura, thanks for joining. Yeah, not sure how long you've been in the chat, but thanks for being here. So the police are now at the meat van, which is interesting. I can hear them talking about, there's someone that's actually just said to the police about the fact I'm filming here, which is interesting. And let's see what the police say back. Just overheard that, say he's filming. Because they don't like the pressure, they don't like it when people have got cameras on these industries, they don't like feeling uncomfortable, and that's why I'm here, to make them feel uncomfortable, to make them feel the same, well, not the same level, but feel uncomfortable because of what they're doing to animals. And I'm not going to stop filming either. You know, the police might come over and have a conversation in a minute. I'm happy to have that conversation, but I'm well within my right to be here to advocate for the animals, and yeah, public property and not disrupting business or anything. So yeah. So yeah, any questions that you've got about veganism, any questions that you've got about the outreach conversation that I just had, please do put them into the chat. Yeah, please do let me know. And thanks everyone who's joined, maybe you've joined recently or not. I'm not sure how long you've been on for, but thanks to all the vegans for being in the chat and supporting and answering probably a lot of comments and questions since I was speaking. Can you explain? So I'm just trying to scroll through, there's a lot of comments coming through. Yeah, you? Live streaming at the moment, just doing some outreach. Yeah, just speaking up for animals today.
Oh, animals' rights.
Yes, okay. Yes. So yeah, that's about it really. Yeah, just, you know, some people are stopping by and having a chat with them. Not sure if you've been wandering around or not, but.
Oh, we've just got down here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
right,
about it.
First name?
I'd rather not give you my name,
Justin,
but yeah,
all right,
but
no
you know.
Are you regular then?
No. I haven't been to Boston for a while, to be fair. But
are you local?
I'd rather not answer that. But yeah.
Just chit chat.
Yeah, no,
My
I appreciate
camera's
that.
not on or anything.
Okay. Yeah, no, okay. I always, yeah, just for my own personal preferences, but
we like talking to people.
okay. That's nice. Yeah, you know, some people are, you know, against what we're doing, speaking up for animals. You know, so you get a lot of hate from people. So it's just, yeah. I mean,
personally,
well, yeah, people online, people, you know, in the streets. I think vegans get a bad rep for just trying to be kind to animals. So, you know, I try and keep personal details fairly private,
Yeah,
but
no, I
that's
respect
the
that.
reason for that.
No drama.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm here being just peaceful, not as much as
I
I
can
hate
see
that.
that.
As much as I hate that meat van. Yeah, but obviously I can't do anything about that.
Oh, all right.
No.
So what are they asking questions online and you're answering? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just trying to raise awareness. A lot of people, asking about health things, asking about how long I've been vegan for, and then just sort of questions coming through. So, yeah, that's my Saturday morning or afternoon, as we're probably in now. Yeah.
Fair enough. You know the football's on today.
Yes, I've seen quite a few people walking through with Bournemouth shirts on, and so I'll probably get busy later on then.
Respect so.
You'll have a tough job in your hands, maybe. Or maybe not.
No, more worried about you. in case
Oh
you're
yeah,
going through.
I'll probably be gone
for a
by
few drinks.
I'll probably be gone by then. So yeah, I won't be hanging around too much longer. I've been here a while, so. But yeah,
We'll leave you
thanks.
to it.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by though. I appreciate that.
dramas.
Yeah,
If you
thank
get any issues, give us a shout.
Yeah, we'll do. Appreciate.
We are here to help.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, so back on the chat, if you've got any questions, yeah, and as I mentioned earlier in the link to this video, there's a description that shows the 3-minute movie challenge, and you can watch a 3-minute video of exactly what happens to animals, and instead of watching a full-length documentary, you can see exactly what happens in just 3 minutes. And also, if you're new to this channel, please do subscribe. I do lots of videos and live streams outside slaughterhouses. So if you want to subscribe and you'll see more of this content, please do. And yeah, if you could like the stream, double tap the screen as well. That massively helps the algorithm boost this video to more people. So yeah, happy to just scroll to the bottom of the chat. So happy to pick up any questions you've got. And thanks for everyone again who's answering some of the questions. Chris, really appreciate your support. There's a comment here, animals don't have a point of view. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Obviously animals maybe not able to speak in our language, but animals want to live just like us. Animals want to live without exploitation and oppression and be forced into gas chambers. So y'all like cheese? Yeah, vegan cheese. Vegan cheese is great. I recommend Cathedral City vegan cheese. Alex, why you hate meat? I hate the thought and the fact that animals are slaughtered as babies. They are sent to slaughterhouses. If they're pigs, they're lowered into CO2 gas chambers. If they're chickens, they're lowered into CO2 gas chambers. If they're cows and sheep, they're bolt gunned to the head and have their throat sliced for the sake of a meal. I hate the industries, and I hate exactly what they do to animals for food when it's unnecessary. Again, the lion and gazelle argument, you don't talk about the rhinos and the hippos, herbivorous animals that just eat plants in the wild. What is up with this guy and baby? So, as I said, I'm here with a sign. I'll show you the sign now so you can see it. It's flipped. It says, "Do you eat babies?" and then the image of a baby lamb. And this is to highlight the fact that animals are babies when they're slaughtered. And that's the reason why I'm here in front of this meat van today, is so that people can make the connection between, people just walked past, had an interesting conversation after seeing the sign. So yeah, and that's the reason for that. And yeah, obviously chickens are 42 days old, 6 weeks old when they're killed. Pigs are 6 months old. Lamb or sheep are between 4 and 6 months old. Cows 1 to 2 years old, or dairy cows 3 to 4, 5 years old. So these are babies that are slaughtered. Hey Jake, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, not sure if you've been on it before. So yeah, I've had a few good outreach conversations with some surprisingly compassionate people. I thought the conversations would be a lot worse today, but actually, yeah, they've been very productive. And hopefully, I'd like to think there's some more vegans from just those conversations I've had. And so I've been giving them all a Viva leaflet, which explains what happens to animals, primarily for cows, pigs, sheep, chickens and fish. And there's some resources of like vegan swaps and other resources that people can watch documentaries and stuff. So they've been given the information of what they can do from now onwards to learn more about what happens to animals and make more compassionate choices. You can get a vegan bacon sarnie. Slaughtered animals for me has been around longer than you were born. There's been a lot of things around longer than I was born, but doesn't make it right to do. Does not make it right to do. And you can get taste from other foods. You can get taste from vegan alternatives. You can get taste from anything else that isn't the slaughtered animal, a baby animal. Thanks, the wall guys. Thanks for the comment. For anyone that was just part of that recent outreach conversation, please do just comment. What was your most noticeable part? What was your favorite part of that chat? Maybe something I said or he said. Just curious of, yeah, what was interesting. Because he was really open-minded, which I love. It was more about the how than the why. Please stop saying baby animal. Why should I stop saying baby animal? I mean, it's factually correct. Are you suggesting fake food alternatives? I'm not suggesting fake anything. I'm saying about real food that is plants and not animals. Great to see so many vegans in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Just trying to scroll through some comments. Mutton is not a baby, so lambs are baby animals. You know, mutton versus lamb, you know, they are the species of sheep, and sheep are murdered, they are slaughtered at 4, 5, sometimes 6 months old, and they are either stunned with electrical prongs or bolt gunned, and they are sliced by their throat and hung up by their legs. These are baby animals. Baby animals. If you don't want me to say it, I'll keep saying it more. These are baby animals. So, question about where do we get meat for our pets? So you can, you know, for dogs or cats, if you look up Dr. Andrew Knight, you can see all of his nutritional studies and information. And for example, in the UK, there's a company called Omni, there's another company called Benevo, I think, that produce plant-based foods for dogs and for cats. I don't have a companion dog or cat, but I know people that do, and they swear by it, and their companion animals have had greater health benefits from switching to plant-based food. Because animals don't need to be exploited and slaughtered for whatever reason, whether it's for human consumption, for pet food consumption, or whether it's for clothing or entertainment or for testing. You're suggesting plant-based meats. Yeah, I mean, if you like the taste of chicken and you don't want chicken to die, have vegan chicken, have a plant-based alternative. But meat tastes good, yeah. Again, you can get taste from anything else. You get taste from any other vegan alternatives, and you know, a lot of the taste comes from your seasonings and your spices and the sauces, not from the product itself. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate you being on. Yeah, really appreciate all the comments you've responded to. Yeah, really appreciate that support, and keep up the amazing work. And if everyone wants to follow Chris Hines, he does amazing outreach and vegan activism. So please do give him a follow. So dogs, I will not feed a carnivorous animal alternate food. As I said, look up Dr. Andrew Knight and you can see some of the studies. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. Take the word of, you know, properly peer-reviewed, science-backed nutritional studies. Yeah, go watch that link that Chris has just put in and subscribe to his channel. But as individuals, you know, what is it that's stopping you from being vegan? What is it that's stopping you from purchasing non-animal products? Why can't you be kind? What is it about, you know, veganism that you're so triggered by? So, question about why should humans be shamed for omnivorous diet when we don't shame wild? Again, we're not talking about wild animals. We're not talking about lions hunting the gazelle. We're talking about us as individuals. What impact do we have with the choices that we make? What impact do we have on the food that we're purchasing, the clothes that we're wearing? How do they make plant-based food? They make it from plants. We are omnivores and have canines for a reason. Okay, so what about hippos? Hippos have canines, huge ones, and they eat plants. The idea of us having canines has no bearing or reason to force animals into gas chambers. Isn't eating meat natural, respectfully? You know, if you look back in time, you know, we would have eaten anything that we could, whether it was some meat, some vegetables. But the fact now that we have information, we have resources, and we know that meat, from a health perspective, gives us negative effects, and that eating a whole food plant-based diet is fully adequate nutrition and healthy for all forms of life. Despite what we may have done in the past, we have more information now than we ever did before. How do you feel about eating animal tissue grown from a cell culture in a lab? I mean, I'm against the idea of using animals for anything. So animal tissue grown in a lab is bordering into the animal experiments and testing. So we don't need to use animals for our own benefit. When we have the options that already exist, we don't need to invest millions of pounds into animal tissues to grow in the cells in labs. We don't need any of that. The veggies require a lot of animals to be killed. Do you know how many insects die? It's a classic crop death argument. Classic crop death argument. When you think of all the insects that may die from crops, the majority of that is fed as animal feed. So being vegan is an argument for that. There's bigger problems in the world than slaughtering animals. What bigger problems are there? By volume, we slaughter billions of land animals a year, trillions of fish. And they don't have people speaking up for them. We have to be there to defend them and speak up and liberate. People need protein. All protein comes from plants. So yeah, obviously animals eat plants and then people eat animals to get protein. All protein comes from plants. You can get, you know, I eat 100, 200 grams of protein a day just from plants. So I'm in the UK, on a UK high street outside a meat van, and been engaging the public in lots of conversations. So yeah, raising awareness of what happens to animals. And I'll show you the sign again just so you can see it. And this is the sign that people have been drawn to and coming over for. Do you eat babies? And that's why I'm here today, is to raise awareness of the animals who are just babies. Just skip to the bottom of the chat again. Killing living things to me is very saddening, but it's just a way of life. It doesn't have to be the way of life. We can all live by eating plants and not consuming animal products. We don't have to breed animals into existence on farms and factory farms and then force them into slaughterhouses to be shot in the head. We don't need any of that. So Matthew, I've just added you as a moderator. Thanks for thanks for all your support. So why don't vegans drink milk? So yeah, again, the dairy industry is one of the cruelest and horrific industries, and that's a reason why vegans don't drink milk. Female cows are artificially inseminated. You get the semen from a bull, you insert it into a female cow, the cow becomes pregnant, and because the female then produces milk is because they are pregnant and giving birth to their young. They are a mammal like us. Like females produce milk for their babies. Cows are exactly the same. When a cow gives birth, their babies are taken away from them. If they're male, they're usually killed or sent for the veal industry. If they're baby females, they are going to be brought up into the same insemination cycle. And after 4 years or so, when they are known as spent, they're no longer as productive, they are sent to a slaughterhouse. Dairy is the meat industry. It's hard to see all the comments on here. But yeah, please do put comments into the chat. Any questions, happy to answer them. Okay, that's kind of horrible. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. A lot of people think just cows produce milk just because, but they do it because they're mothers. Their children are taken away from them. Their milk is sold and packaged up to humans. Then, yeah, if they're male, they're killed. And then after a few years, they're sent to a slaughterhouse anyway. So, if you're a vegetarian, but you're still consuming dairy, you're still paying for animals to go to a slaughterhouse. And maybe, I've seen quite a few different comments and questions, so I'm going to answer it in a more broader term, in that we don't need to view animals, and they just started up the music. We don't need to use animals for our own benefit. We don't need to commodify them. We don't need to use them for any sort of use at all. So the concept I often live by is that instead of any of these complex terms, just leave animals alone. You don't need to exploit them for their food, for their eggs, for their clothes, for their skin. You could just leave animals alone, and it will solve a whole load of problems. Plants are alive and conscious. It's a classic, isn't it? Plants don't have central nervous systems. They don't feel pain. They're not sentient. They don't have pain receptors. As comment, no cows, sheep, pigs anymore. Is that, vegans obviously don't eat or consume any of those animals, so hopefully you won't either. Just because something is a living organism doesn't mean that they have pain receptors, a central nervous system, a brain, and sentience. And if you're honestly telling me that the idea of if there was in front of you a rabbit and a carrot, you think that stabbing the rabbit is the same as stabbing a carrot, I think you've got bigger questions to ask yourself. And just because the comments coming in, I'll play devil's advocate here, and let's pretend that plants do feel pain. Let's pretend they do. This is still an argument for veganism. The billions of crops that are grown and then fed to animals as animal feed for 92 billion land animals. If you really think that plants feel pain, then you'll be vegan because you'll be reducing the suffering of plants. So, just got here, what's the argument? Yeah, I'm speaking up on behalf of the animals today. I've got a placard that says, "Do you eat babies?" and out in front of a meat van to raise awareness of what happens to animals and engage people in conversations. You don't need to objectify animals and commodify them. Even if it is for the idea of backyard eggs, just leave animals alone. You don't need to always look at an animal or an animal product and think, how can I benefit from this? What would be natural to them is if you just left them alone. And again, just saw a comment about an island, desert island. Like, we live in society where we have choices. We have supermarkets, we have restaurants, we have all these choices in front of us, and we have moral agency to make compassionate choices. So why would you want an animal to be forced into a gas chamber? Why are so many people in this chat so for the animals being shot in the head and having their throats sliced. Why would you want to support that? And again, maybe as well to debunk a common thing. So like veganism isn't always about being perfect. It's about doing what we can in the capacity that we can to stop animals from being exploited. You know, no one's can always be perfect, but it's what do we have? It's the idea that, you know, what is necessary, what is unnecessary, what choices do we make? Exactly, leave the animals alone and be vegan. It's a quote and saying that I will always go by is just leave animals alone. So, the question here about Jesus wasn't vegan. Hopefully you were there when the two Christian gentlemen came over and had a discussion about that. And as a Christian, you know, he said, what would God want us to do? God would want us to be kind to animals, right? So yeah, please do double tap the screen, it massively helps the algorithm, and yeah, please do just click away and subscribe to my channel. It really, really helps, so I appreciate all of your support. And if you want to subscribe, even if you're a troll, you know, if you want to see future videos, hit that subscribe button. Happy to debate in other contexts. And also just another, sorry, I've seen a lot of comments coming through, just another point to add on the God and the Jesus comment. Watch Christspiracy. Watch Christspiracy. It's a free documentary to watch that talks about the whole religion of Christianity and being vegan. There's a question here, is alcohol vegan? So some alcohol is vegan and some alcohol isn't. So sometimes animal body parts are used in the process of making alcohol. So fish guts and fish bladders are often used, known as isinglass, as a filter for wine. But there's a website called Barnivore, which basically you put in whether it's beer or wine, and it will tell you if it's vegan or not. So yeah, check out Barnivore. But a lot of vegans will now say that, a lot of products will now say if it's vegan or not on the bottles. So Alex, protesting is not going to do anything, and then the last bit of the sentence, I'm cool with that, but protesting is just annoyance. So obviously, you know, I'm here as an outreach today, not as much as a strict protest. Obviously, I'm being peaceful, not getting in anyone's way, engaging in meaningful conversation. You are good, keep up the good work. Thanks for the comment. So, quote from Genesis here. Here's a quote back. Was the Garden of Eden vegan? Because I heard it was. And the other question, how would Jesus kill an animal? So yeah, any other comments you want to put into the chat, please do put them in and I will try and respond. And thanks for all of the support today, again to the vegans in the chat. It's been really, really helpful and useful to have your support. What's with vegans making meat substitutes? So yeah, the idea that you can have the same familiar foods, the same taste, the same textures, but without an animal having to die. And so there's always the kind of equivalent of the idea of vegan meats being, you know, give it the same analogy as a dildo. Why do people use dildos? Looks the same, feels the same, and what's the quote? Yeah, fills a hole. So, you know, you can have alternatives to things. The same with like decaf coffee. You want the coffee, you want the flavour without the caffeine. Alcohol-free beers, you want the taste, but you don't want the alcohol. Have an alcohol-free beer. People are so against vegan meats when you're not against alcohol-free beer or caffeine-free coffee. By the way, this is not my music playing. I just want to clarify that. This is not my music playing. But yeah, please do check my social media out on Instagram. I'm alex.activism. Drop me a follow, and please do put put some questions in my DMs. You know, happy to continue these chats and have more conversations online. Doesn't have to be on live streams. You know, I'm always open to conversations. And yeah, so you can be vegan, just live vegan. And check out, once again, check out the video description in this live stream. I think if you hit the 3 dots, go to description, and in there is a link to the 3-minute movie challenge. You can see exactly what happens to animals without harming animals. You can see exactly what happens without watching, the full-length documentary, and from that onwards is a reason why so many people now don't harm animals and pay for their suffering and exploitation. So yeah, please do drop me a follow on social media, Alex Activism on Instagram, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, hopefully see you all on a future stream. I'll be outside a slaughterhouse again very soon, so hope you will come along to that. And yeah, thanks for all your support, and check out the links in my link tree. You can see all the documentaries that I refer to. So yeah, thanks for being on board, thanks for all the vegans in the chat, and see you on the next one.